the map veto up on the board and see where we go to. And again, our last best of 3 series of the evening. As they say, all good things must come to an end, right? And we'll see where these 2 teams will go. They'll ban out Border and Oregon first. Bank will be the first one. Villa for the second. Oh boy, I can't wait to dig into this one. And what will it be? Coastline for Decider. Okay, 3 maps that not only have extremely defender-favored specific sites, but also both teams have shown quite a bit of flexibility on when it comes to soft destruction.
EG won the pick and ban phase here, at least on paper.
You heard it here first.
By a lot.
No doubt.
Neck on the line here.
And I think that was coming in. That was decided even before the ban phase started. And the reason is, we're talking about a best of 3 here, and if you're looking at the stats of Reciprocity's previously banned maps, they have 2 outliers that they just don't want to play. Oh, actually 3, but let's focus on just 2 at the moment. So Oregon and Bank, both of which they haven't had any wins on. They've been banning profusely in the last 3 months, and they only have racked up losses on those. Now, guess what? Oregon or Bank, take your pick. You have to play one of them because, I mean, you only get 1 ban before the other team gets to pick, right? So do you go to Oregon, the one that you've banned more? Or do you go to Bank, the one that is historically Evil Genius's most terrifying map to face them?
And on top of that, I mean, they've been so predictable that the 2 maps that they have banned the most past 3 months are the 2 maps they banned here.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
No, if EG goes into this assuming that this is the outcome, they have a massive advantage in terms of practice. But I mean, we've seen teams throw curveballs and come in with maps that we, didn't expect them to even perform mediocre on, and then go to destroy a team where that is their main map. I really hope for Reciprocity that this is a planned, a little trap card, so to say, and not the fact that they just got outsmarted in the ban phase.
Yeah, we'll take a look at a bit of a map statistic here, just to highlight what you guys have been talking about over the past bit. And guess what? Bank, 7 bans, played twice, lost on twice. EG, 100% win ratio, right?
I feel like on the right hand of the screen, the stats just speak for themselves.
Yeah.
But you have to give away one sort of map to the opponent. I mean, you go back to Villa. You look at this as a best of 3 series. We not only talk about balance on a specific map, but overall in competitive play, it's around the whole competitive series. Bank, sure, you might lose it. It would make sense statistically, correct? But you go to Villa, and that's a map that both teams play very well on. And guess what? Reciprocity reinvented a lot of the soft destruction, including a lot of that Jacko play early on in the introduction of Villa until this day.
Without a doubt, though, I would probably, if I was Reciprocity, rather gamble it on Oregon. Oregon is a map that is much more 50-50, and if you are going to give away a map that you don't like playing, I'd rather take a map that EG has lost twice on already in the last 3 months. So jumping into Bank in this, it seems like such a big risk.
I feel like just the way that you're going into this, if you're a Reciprocity player, is that no matter what, you're at a disadvantage heading into this, just simply because that the map pool is not developed enough, at least on paper. And I think that I completely agree with you. Oregon would have been a better bet, but Bank is what we'll go to. And I think that it'll have to be a miracle to see Reciprocity take map number 1.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They'll have to adapt and improvise and overcome to defeat their opponents of Evil Geniuses. But with that limited stress on the back of Reciprocity, maybe that's the thing that they'll need to go through Evil Geniuses. Who will know? We'll just have to go through this matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to heat it up. Our final matchup of the day, Evil Geniuses versus Reciprocity. Flynn, Emzo, all yours.
Thank you very much, Milos, and the boys on the desk. Welcome back to the last quarterfinal single elimination game between 2 of the best North American teams in Rainbow Six Siege currently.
Yeah, and there's something I want to say to all the EG fans out there, because I know there's a lot of EG fans. You have to remember, EG have won 1 Invitational, but guess what? On Reciprocity, you've got 2 former Xbox Invitational winners from the very first Invitational of Skies and Laxing. Not only that, but you've got Retro, who is the Season 3 winner of Year 1, alongside what is now EG, was Continuum at the time. So the decks stacked both ways, and this could be a close match. Not only that, but this is the one team who've been able to take down EG opaque in the actual Pro League season so far. So I'm expecting a really good matchup between these 2. And I wouldn't count Bank out just because they banned it a lot. We've seen that come out of teams like, I don't know, G2, who happen to win things sometimes.
It's a very good point. And Bank, although the history is on the side of Evil Geniuses when it comes to Bank, Very long and storied history on this specific map for Evil Geniuses, back when they were Continuum in Year 1, Season 3 against Zoronic, who was on our analyst desk. They claimed their first Pro League title in North America's first Pro League title on the final map, Bank.
Well, this is interesting to see the Jackal band coming out, though, on a map, of course, where Jackal is essential and also Thermite, useful on every single bomb site. So this is definitely going to be out of the wire. We very often see Hibana bans on here, but instead the Thermite ban means we most likely will see Hibana being used, but we could still see the double hard breachers with that Maverick. It's definitely going to be down to individual team strats. The Echo, though, not going to be delaying any of these plans. It's going to be down to the Smoke to do so, assuming there's no last-minute Smoke ban here. I wouldn't count on it, but you never know. Nope, the double Echo Maestro ban. So a lot less delay for the plants coming in. I do hope that means we'll see some sooner plants. So we've definitely seen some come down to the wire in some of these matchups so far, and it's made for some tough matches.
The biggest issue then will be the mirrors that will be in play, both downstairs and throughout the map on top floor bomb sites. The ability to stretch out and expand your amount of map control with Mira is massive on Bank, and she's one of the most popular bans on this map for that reason. But we've also been seeing a lot of clutches today throughout both or all three games that have already partaken, between Echo and Maestro, having a lot of plant denial opportunities to clutch in the dying seconds. We have a couple of 6-picks off rip. Canadian picking up the Maverick off the Montaigne, and Skies heading to the Vigil. Not a big shock on the side of Skies.
I like the Monty fake-out play, because what we could see here is we could see Hibana open up the server hatch like they're going to go for a normal play with the Monty down into the server stairs and play for that, but then a sneaky opening of the vault side from a Maverick to go for a sneaky vault drop. I would not be expecting that if I was Reciprocity, just because you're going to be absolutely expecting them to at least play off Hibana and opening the hatch. I mean, we may not see them at all, but playing off the silence of Maverick opening hatches, I would love to see that come out in this round, and that would certainly be a sneaky initial play here. They do also, though, have the Capital to make for some nice plays and hit the Smoke, but at least Sky's putting up one thing to be able to try and see through that, because they lost the Maestro in the ban phase. They're not going to be able to play that. Of course, that was their ban, so they are definitely prepared to deal with not having that. But this is where the Pulse is really going to be essential in terms of calling out if something's actually happening into servers. Might even see him playing inside the server stack for a while first, as Laxing looking to see if he can catch the drones, and unfortunately not connecting.
Well, with Evil Geniuses banning out the Jackal and starting on attack, they're going to have to rely on their roam clear to be as swift and effective as possible without being able to spot out anyone's footprints and mark them throughout the map at least 5 times. No, none of that utility will be available. It looks like Geo will be starting things off in the main lobby, coming in through ATMs. He's already spotted out a Valkyrie camera and a couple default cameras, and here come all the drones. And it will take a minute for EG to clear the majority of the top 2 floors on Bank, considering the real estate that is available on this map. Geo's doing a lot of good work right now with the IQ, dispatching some of this electronic utility that was laid out by Team Reciprocity to continue to stall out EG on their clear. But it looks like a minute in, they've got most of their drone work done. They've established that all 5 members of Reciprocity are on the downstairs level.
You got to imagine, since they made the Jackal ban, they were preparing very much to clear the top floors manually as fast as possible. And here is that sneaky play I was hinting at, possibly coming out here. But they were prepared for it. Laxing reads right into it and puts a bullet to his dome. Well played. That is going to completely stop out that play unless they want to overcommit to it. Nicely done. And what could have been a fantastic showing from this first round. Either way, though, certainly not over yet, but a nice start for Reciprocity.
Not a good start for Evil Geniuses. Troy leaving himself extremely exposed while mavericking the Teller's hatch. And you can see the ERC on Skies being detected by Geo's electronics detector at the bottom of the main stairs. So he knows that going for the flank down main stairs will not be easy and will be met with hard resistance as he tries to push his way down. But again, NVK, intelligent player, will spot the Legion Mine, and Fox 8 will hear this and begin to contest him on his entry, slowly rotating in behind the vehicles in the parking garage. And there's not a lot of progress here for EG. Time is running low, and you start going for a server execute immediately.
It is a little odd that they're going to have Fox play this position right here that could get droned out, as opposed to Skies, which would be able to avoid that drone for the most part. But NVK not completely droning in here means he doesn't know what positioning there actually could be, and Fox reading into that does play off it. But thanks to a nice camera from Laxing, but a good shot from Fox as he pulls off to just the right spot. A nice start here. 2 kills at 23 seconds left.
Geo running to that resistance, and here come all the smokes being dumped out now for Evil Geniuses. They just utility dump in. Retro has been down, and Fox rushing through the smoke to try and rescue his fallen comrade. But a team kill coming out from Young onto Necrox. Fox will rip straight through Young in return. It's NVK alone in a 1v5, and he will fall early. Reciprocity start things off with authority on round number 1.
It's got to feel bad when you're EG, and not only does your plan fail and you lose the Maverick early, you take out one of your own, so they only have to even kill 4 of you. It's a good start for them. I definitely think this is a map that they've been underestimated on before. I've even heard that come out of Fox, that they teams underestimated their bank play and got punished for it. The season, however, didn't look that way just because of their lost record on it. But I do think the bans speak for themselves and that they are prepared for this, or at least we're hoping that, hey, we haven't shown a whole lot during the season. EG tend to show a bit more of their bank strats, but also very nice play by Fox and Laxing. They are kind of the roam duo more often than not, as Skies tends to play sort of this lone flank thing that he, I don't know, didn't seem to be able to get any kills from that time. Either way, though, he was a bit of a distraction, at least for their drones, and making sure that they could not completely clear it. But we'll see how they do on this bomb site that won't be as turtle defended, I imagine, although they will have the ability to seal up a lot of doorways, try and protect those, and then use some of those cameras to be able to watch from there. I gotta imagine that Fox is gonna have to hit those shots with that ACOG to really make that pick worth it, because we've seen a lot of plays where people feel like they know how to play that dock on here and they just get punished for it.
An interesting use of utility from Team Reciprocity, at least through 2 rounds. I talked off rip for the game about how Mira would be influential, and yet Reciprocity completely avoiding her like the plague. And Mark is a very proficient Mira player, and Retro typically the smoke, so lots of role changes happening apart from the norm right now for Team Reciprocity, but garners them a first-round win, and now they elect to go CEO instead of one of the other 2 main 4 bomb sites, which we've actually seen a surprising amount of staff in open area lately as well.
Interesting enough, 3 sets of barbed wire coming out, so they are definitely looking on between the cameras and the barbed wire, getting a lot of intel on where the approach is from without something like a Legion to be able to do that. So they're cutting, they don't have Jackal, so they're going to be slowed down a bit on their ability to roam clear. They're also going to be subject to making a lot of noise going through that, taking out barbed wire. We should, on our roam, be able to anticipate their approach if we're able to avoid their drones. So they're looking to try and shut down lone players of EG. EG are going to have to play together, make sure there's any trades that come out if they need to, as they try and push their way in. Also playing off these windows, going to factor in. But Reciprocity need to make sure they take out the drones, because if they don't, those drones are going to be set up in a lot of nifty positions to make sure that flanks do not come out on DG. There we go. Look at the hunting of cameras outside, because they know very common spots over there you do not want to be caught on Repel.
NVK still playing Skylight, trying to spot out any of this electronic utility, but really it's just the Valkyrie cameras and some ADSs that will be picked apart from above 1 by 1 as we eclipse more than a minute elapsed in the round, and Canadians still blowing up some of these castle barricades that Retro has put on the banana windows. The double stack inside of ATMs for Evil Geniuses. They look to continue their push up spiral stairs on the pinch.
Love that football helmet. That's definitely fun to see. I hope Fox doesn't go for some kind of jump out. That is going to be the slowest run back. Although it would be appropriate if the football player jumps out and just makes a run for the touchdown.
Still got 1 Evil Geniuses attacker repel that looks like it's Necrox out of the front lobby windows, but immediate contention coming up the spiral stairs as Evil Geniuses send Geo and NVK up. Stuns come out in full force from Geo, but they're not going to connect on anyone. ADS is doing their job. One of the Toxic Babes, though, gets shot out of mid-air as Mark tried to deploy it and slow down the advancement here from Geo coming up the spiral stairs.
You see the continuous pings coming out. He's continually calling out to his teammates that he has not crossed, that he is still in that one position. They are watching for any kind of rotate to punish. They're going to have to watch that doorway as well, but so far, it's 40 seconds left, and there is yet to be a single bullet or even most gadgets to connect with each other. It is going to be a flurry of kills, and there they go. Trade-offs.
Trades back and forth, and there goes the jump out from Foxay, so he'll be detected outside. Laxing flanking through elevator hallway on the main floor. Sky's flanking through stock hallway, and he'll be, oh, what a shot by Canadian. They will trade with each other down to a 2v2, and they know where Fox is. It's all up to finding the positioning of Laxing. They take out the Valkyrie camera hidden in sight, and Gio will initiate the plant attempt as Laxing rotates back up the spiral stairs. Currently in a 1v2 as he awaits the return of Foxay. The plant will get completed, and Young will dome Laxing, trying to crouch walk his way through those opened up banana windows. It's Foxay in a 1v2 as he sprints up the south stairs, trying to regain control, but meeting room held off, and Young will shut him down. Evil Geniuses respond right back and level things at 1-1.
I gotta wonder though, why was Fox not pulling out the pistol for the sprint? I know it's not necessarily a huge difference, but when you're that slow and your teammate is left alone up there, probably should do everything you can to get that edge. EG though, look a little concerned with that play because that got a lot closer than they were expecting. They took so long to get any kills going. The turtling up, absolutely working for all of Reciprocity. And then, well, once they sprung into action, the trades back and forth did leave it at a 2v2. Like you said, though, unfortunately, a bit far for Fox to be, and they knew at that point it was just Laxing. I did like that he played for the retake on that position, though. Just unfortunately did not have the angles from Banana to be able to get the shots. And, well, they were going to know that going to that plant, but Gio, nice play by him there as well. And I was surprised to see Fox go for that jump out, but hey, going back to year one, Fox, well known for the king of the jump outs at that time.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
One of the biggest problems for me on that ending portion of the round for Reciprocity is the lack of patience from Foxay and Laxing together. Both of them trying to retreat back upstairs, but they don't wait for each other to regroup and pinch at the same time. You have to know that plant is going down in that scenario, so you know there's only one man covering and you have two guns on your side. You can easily outnumber and cordon off whoever is playing protection detail until that plant goes down and you level up at a 2v2.
I mean, at the very least, if you come up afterwards and knowing that they got off the plant, they're going to be in a certain position. The person that was on that plant is going to be somewhat near where the plant went down at that time. And if Laxing didn't have eyes on them, there's only certain positions they could be at that point. But that is down to the IGL to make those calls, as well as the game sense of the IGL players. We'll see them try the third bomb site, though, see if they can get a little bit better luck on this one. As so far, they've been 1 for 1 on the other two bomb sites. Of course, they did have to switch off of Locker, so they cannot go back to it till the following round, which I imagine they'll do next round regardless of the results of this. This is a good way to feel it out a little bit more first. Really interested to see, though, if the extra C4 here is going to make a difference this round. Is this something they lacked last round? Was a lot of counterplay utility. It was mostly just barbed wire working for them, as with one C4 on Laxing's side. But again, pretty much the same lineup coming here from EG, but they're pushing very aggressively towards site quickly, and it pays off for Gio.
Immediate site control for Evil Geniuses as they storm the Gulag into Archives. Another one for Gio as he grabs two in quick succession. Now Sky is stuck inside of the small office, trying to work his way out of a phone booth. A Nitro Cell almost takes down the teammate, but Gio with his third of the round. Foxay will immediately trade out NVK, but it's a two-man deficit for Reciprocity as they still try to retake against their own objective. Foxay with one, Laxing with another, equalizing, but Gio with four, trying to go for the ace. It's Laxing on 20 HP at the bottom of square, trying to work his way out back on top of the hatch and towards the Teller's Archives window. For being disintegrated by Canadian with that hammer up top, constant pings coming out, and Gio with the ace! Evil Geniuses execute the Archives rush and pull it off flawlessly. They retake the lead, 2-1.
One thing you don't expect to see is the point man on a rush getting away with the ace. You expect him to trade 1, maybe 2 kills, but pushing in like the spear of a nuclear warhead, just destroying the entire team despite Laxing's best attempts to come back. This is unfortunate for Reciprocity as they are now down 2 rounds. However, this is EG's map pick, so even if things don't work out the greatest, not a big deal. It looks like we may have a temporary rehost here for what might be a technical issue. That's going to slow down things slightly, as I don't think that Tachanka pick going to come out just yet from Skies. I do appreciate the excitement coming out during the rehost for that, though.
Highly doubt that will come to fruition, but Retro has rejoined. Now it's interesting because Reciprocity asked for a full-on rehost, but I imagine Retro just restarting his game should be fine.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the pause on LAN, is you can pull that off with that rejoin. Oh, good, we will be going into the next round as we watch these replays. Finish this off as well. It was hard to see everything that happened during that rush. It was just massacre by Gio. No one expected him at any given point, even when pulling out the pistol. Laxing, I suppose Laxing almost managed to get a kill before it pulled off, but Yeah, too little too late at that point. Geo seemed to be able to reposition continuously, and back to lockers we go.
Returning back downstairs, the first bomb site that was wholly successful for Team Reciprocity. It's their only win now through 3 rounds. They started off quite well, stalling out Evil Geniuses. EG just having no response to Canadians' immediate death, trying to mav open a hatch, and then from there, it all just turned into anarchy inside of the objective with 20 seconds left and just a myriad of smokes coming down, a team kill. So Evil Genius is going to have to ramp up the pace at attacking downstairs. They're clear, and Canadian, instead of faking the shield, will actually elect to bring the Montaigne.
Not only are they bringing the Montaigne, but they're doubling down on the Montaigne by bringing the glass, and that is going to be the play behind it. So I imagine it's going to be the play to open up the server side on the other side of it, so you could go for a play to fight down into Red Hallway from that. And he's looking to take server very quickly here. Canadian trying to get that drone in ASAP, but this is going to be down to the Pulse, who's actually looking for that. He's going to be looking for that heartbeat. Unfortunately, the drones do not have a heart, so they're just going to push their way in unimpeded. And Geo spotting a player as well on his drone. So they're going to catch this roam. That's going to help clear things out a little bit faster if they can time this well. And spotting the G-Mine as well. We'll tell him exactly who that was if he didn't already know. This is unfortunate as he is boxing in space until he jumps through the escape hatch.
No one catching his descent down the stock hatch into open area and then in return down the main stairs. So missed opportunity there for EG to cordon off Foxe and have him trapped in a nice little box early on. And Geo's ace is only the 3rd of the whole tournament. Hungry 6-second ace, unforgettable, and Rizraz earlier on had an ace as well.
Well, notably, 2 other players who are now out of the tournament. So Geo looking to be the last man standing with the only ace so far. If he can keep it up, you know, hold the record for the rest of it. But Canadian already taking a bit of damage on this entry, and he's got a lot of players looking his way. He's going to have to fight this hard. But I imagine server hatch could get open to put a lot of pressure on them, along with the pressure coming in from Geo as well. There's hatches getting opened. That is going to make things harder for them to sit in their positions. As this last hatch gets opened for Canadian to push in. In the meantime, he's just delaying and keeping them busy. So this is going to be down to timing and smart play, along with phone calls and smokes. As again, we talked about earlier with Empire's match, there is going to be 4 smokes here to make this play happen. Goo-Mine's going to be essential in thwarting that, along with those 2 C4s.
Missed opportunity from Evil Geniuses again as it was a 2-man server hold, and they all retreat through CCTV, and no one's playing the hatch to catch them off. So we remain at a 5v5 with less than a minute ticking away now, and with no thermite, you're not going to be able to open up the wall for the default player. You're going to have to push Troy in there immediately, but here comes the flank from Foxe, top floor, and he'll shut down NVK. Here goes the Thatcher, not the biggest loss in the world to the site execute, but they can't deal with Foxe on their backside with this little time remaining. They need to clear him out as fast as possible.
He's in a good position too. Yes, he is being phone called, but he's not in a position where they're going to be able to, they're all going to commit to the plant now, and his flank is going to be essential.
Geo taking a Blacksing on the drop, but not enough to finish him off. Nothing lethal yet for Evil Geniuses, but Canadian's been trying to put down a plan. We've got the PMM, Retro will shut it down. Tried to vault into Red Hall was Geo. Still have Young playing hatch control. EG get the plan down, but they're being flanked from in behind. A good catch by Necrox with hatch control, joined by Young. It's Canadian alone downstairs inside of CCTV, just trying to hold the door for as long as possible as that timer ticks away. There goes Necrox equalizing a trade out. And on top of the diffuser, an immediate trade from Necrox, leveling it a 2v2 once again. Looks like Laxing is either downed or at 1 HP. He's currently 1 HP. Maneuvering around. They're worried about the hatch above, but no, Laxing will vault over square stairs and move his way in through archives on the opposite side of a soft wall. But there goes Necrox. He's got 4 on the round. Can we get another ace from Evil Geniuses? Necrox! Back-to-back aces for Evil Geniuses, and they're on a roll.
That is one way to win this, is to make sure each one of your players gets a turn to destroy the entire other team. And it is certainly working out for AG here. They are just, if they are not performing as a team, they are performing as individuals regardless. They have each other's back, and that's down to good communication. You would not see these level of aces if they weren't communicating flawlessly, because you cannot make those kind of plays just off of game sense. And I do think picking up Gotcha was a big gotcha for the whole team, and bringing that level of intelligence and coaching to the whole team that has absolutely benefited them this season. Canadian gonna be teasing again here, but this time pick it over to a different operator. We'll see how this plays out for another Lockers attempt. So far though, despite that early success, on the mind play, seeming to not work out since then on these plays for defense, but who knows? Once the side switch, we've seen that a lot today, we've seen that a lot over the week, is when the side switch, all bets are off in terms of who can keep that lead.
Well, if this isn't a blast from the past, I don't know what is. NVK picking up the mantle of the Ash and Canadian on Glaz. It feels like it's year 2 all over again, but unfortunately, not good memories for the EG squad back in year 2, as back-to-back seasons, Troy wasn't participating in the LANs, he was on the desk for them.
Well, maybe he liked seeing those yellow highlights from the desk. Definitely going to be going for those now. We'll see if that pays off, because we saw some pretty good Glaz play as well from other players. And I don't know, I wasn't, the biggest fan of his Glaz play. He's sitting down there with 1 kill so far this tournament, but hey, it is hard to get kills when your teammates are stealing all those kills, like little hogs, 2 between 2 of the other players. And the aggressive pulse play, again, trying to identify anyone trying to sneak their way in. Sky's going to be trying to watch for this, but we are going to have the mirror play this time around, coming out from Mark the Shark. You mentioned him being a very good player of that role. We'll see if it works out for him this round. Laxing playing the role. He's been playing very well. I mean, that is a role that is a lot of fraggers seem to be playing very well. We've seen that from a couple different teams over this week, is that Valkyrie, despite the MPX not being a high damage output weapon, seems to be just, I don't know, a frag machine for a lot of players who know how to control it well and just point it towards the head and click.
So far for Team Reciprocity, their fluidity in their roam game has been on full display, and it's actually been working out quite well for them. A number of excellently well-timed flanks coming off and throwing Evil Geniuses for a loop, but in the end, it's just a brute force, 20-second left, everyone pile into the objective push that seems to be working for Evil Geniuses. And last time around, they at least had the hatch control, a member on each hatch. Valkyrie camera gets spotted out as it's a role-swapping fiesta on Evil Geniuses as well, as Nightrox will keep his Dokkaebi, but now Geo is picking up the IQ that NVK was previously on. And like I said, the Ash for NVK now, the Glaz for Canadian. Seems like it's hard to get a read on EG if you're Reciprocity when they continue to mix things up like this.
Well, they're a team that was doing that for a while and actually was really being a big problem for them, I would say, during the Pro League season when they were really swapping up roles a lot. But the point of doing that was to just build that flexibility in, something we see from a lot of other teams, Reciprocity being one of those other teams. So we'll see how it works out for this round. But like you said, they're brute forcing. That can only last for so long. They can get away with it because just the inability to control those flanks. It's just they're pressuring on the site at the same time, and they're getting enough kills because of the lack of players on site. That's really working out for them. But now the smokes are coming down. Execute has to follow it as there's no smokes left, and there goes Glaz.
A lot of missed shots there from Troy, but at least Geo will be there to trade out Necrox to pile on, and there goes Mark ripping down those. They try to rush for a Lockers push. They still be able to trade it out, and NVK will recover the diffuser in the Lockers hallway. He's got a mirror on his right, a man in gold, and a man on his back in the area of elevators. Guys, the phone call still ringing out, misses the shot. Try and close this off and close the gap. NVK now trying to put a plant down in behind the A-bomb. There's a mirror looking in, both defenders staring straight at Young, but Geo ripping right through Red Hall. NVK putting the plant back down, Laxing able to take down Geo, so the immediate pressure is off. But you still have Young on plant cover, and oh, what a shot by Young into the depths of Lockers, and Evil Geniuses running away with this one.
I really do hope we see a bit of a comeback here from Reciprocity, because this is looking not so great after that first round start, and it seems like EG plenty warmed up after that round when they got caught a little off guard. But again, those flanks are still good. They're still pulling them off round after round, but it's just that brute force taking over the site. It seems like whenever they come back for that flank, the site is already well in the ownership of EG, and that's a big problem for them because, well, you can only clutch so much with one player left, and it's very continuously one player on that flank. Maybe they need 2 people on flank just to be able to pull the site back from that. But we do have a tactical timeout here to try and bring things back just a little bit.
Problem with that for Reciprocity is that EG are pushing down those common flank routes. You know, South Stairs is the most common flanking route for a team on defense, and they're completely avoiding server for the most part. Maybe one person will enter in actually through the server door, but the rest of Evil Geniuses, they have hatch control in open area, they send down their smokes, and they all drop hatches. So I'm imagining Reciprocity might be reading into this and might even attempt a 3rd consecutive try downstairs and try and keep someone inside a server to at least hold that out. as they tried earlier on, but then send the flank up server stairs. That seems to be the most neglected area and the biggest area of opportunity for Reciprocity to take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, they have picked CEO for the moment, but after the TAC timeout, I think they'll have about 8 seconds to change their mind if during the timeout they decide, yeah, maybe we could try lockers again with just these adjustments. And the timeouts are useful for determining that, but no, they are going to stick it. Now it is down to the reveal phase. We'll see if Fox sticks on that play, but as Milos likes to say, this is not just a roam operator, but I got to imagine we'll see Fox roaming on that, just because he's been roaming so consistently, him or Laxing, very often off the site. Like I said, it used to be this guy's Laxing roam duo, but Laxing Fox has been pretty consistently the roam duo a lot of the time throughout the season so far, but it's been working very well for them as a team because Skies is playing kind of a bit more solo, and that's what he did well as well back even when there was the Skies and Laxing duo a lot of the time. It's just, as long as they can communicate well as a team, they can make that work. And it's, I would say down to timing, is those flanks aren't coming soon enough for how fast EG are actually pushing once they're ready to execute. CEO, though, was something I felt like they had a bit better of a read on. Let's just hope Fox doesn't throw himself out the window this time. Maybe a little bit of a lighter player throwing himself out, but they do have a couple of big people on the team with 3 1 speeds. So there's only a couple of faster operators to make that jump, assuming they feel the need to do so, although I guess you could throw a hologram down to keep them scared in the meantime.
An unfortunate portion for this for Reciprocity is that a lot of these chaotic gunfights just really aren't going their way, and that's a little atypical for Reciprocity, obviously. Known for their fragging ability, just getting overwhelmed right now with the amount of utility dumped in whenever Evil Geniuses goes for that site execute. But I think you're right. I think Laxing and Fox need to get out, either Laxing and Fox or Skies and Fox. Some combination of this trio of madness on Reciprocity should get out and try and manipulate a little bit more of the control they can have on the map. But I imagine an objective like CEO will allow them the availability to do that, because Evil Genius is just too overwhelming on that site execute when you're 4v4 inside of a box.
And you know what it is too? It's Reciprocity are playing very good at the turtle game, the waiting game, burn out the time game. The problem is the game they're not playing well is the early picks game. And that's what's costing them, because once the execute comes down, it's 5 men executing on Evil Geniuses. They need that to be 4 or less for those flanks to be a little bit more successful. And maybe they just need some of those flanks to try and go for some, I mean, risky, but maybe worthwhile picks early, especially if they can pick an operator who is important for the execute, particularly a smoke operator. Generally is going to be important for those plays, especially Glaz, who Canadian didn't do so great on before, so Geo has taken that mantle back up.
Well, it's the last round of the first half, so if you're going to do anything crazy if you're wrecked, you might want to do it right now, bust it wide open and go for broke, because you're down 4-1, on the verge of going down 5-1. Fox did a little bit of damage from that frag grenade, although that looked like it was much, much closer than the explosion and the health taken away gave, and that's more like it. Retro will be the one to fall instead of Foxe. Laying prone and behind the windows, but Fox's made it down to the main lobby, and he shoots out the flank drone. Necrox awaiting his approach from main lobby. The phone call coming up, and Necrox not pushing on this. Now Canadian hopping on the rappel, and he turns a little too far. He spots them out, and Geo will grab a kill onto Mark in the process. Running out of ammo as Canadian on the rappel, so Necrox will come in tandem, and somehow Evil Geniuses get the diffuser down. In the madness, Geo with another one with the PMM, and they're all backing out now, as Young is able to get in through the Hibana holes. Foxe is reset downstairs, so Laxing and Foxe stuck inside of Archives. We need to retake against 5 as a 2-man duo, and it's a lot of lockdown right now for Evil Geniuses on square stairs, but Laxing will start things off well. Pinned up in the windows is Canadian. He'll rip through one. He's got another one directly in front of me. He doesn't know it. Hipfire's coming out, tagging the shoulder. Foxe on no HP. Canadian will rip right through him. That's 3 for him on the round. And that is 5 rounds in a row for Evil Geniuses on the attacking side of Bank, and that will end the first half with authority for Evil Geniuses.
Unfortunately, the theme just did not change of Fox or Laxing being the last to try and clutch it out every single time. I gotta wonder if maybe they have some better site players to be able to hold off against that, just because they don't seem to be able to hold out the site. But at the same time, it really does come down to, if you have people roaming off site, your site players need to be able to hold it, or your flankers need to get some kills early on, and it just was not happening. I mean, it was those Vitality level executes or Empire level executes, whatever you want to call them, where they're playing for a very fast execute towards the end, and it's working consistently because they have the manpower to pull it off. but we'll see how well they do on this bomb site now that EG is on the defense, whether or not there could be some sneaky plays from Reciprocity, or if we'll see some extra aggression from EG, leading to some of the early picks that Reciprocity were unable to get on their defensive rounds. It's gonna be hard to say, but we will see Skies playing on his old favorite. I gotta imagine without the ACOG, something that he's gonna be very used to when that change rolls around here in the near future.
Very aggressive, fast-paced, fragging heavy, focused lineup coming out from Team Reciprocity, but I'd expect nothing less from them, especially in a position when they're on their back foot and need to come out the gate swinging. This is the perfect opportunity to do so. And Evil Geniuses, contrary to the norm, will start out on CEO as their primary defense, although they do have a 5-1 round buffer right now, so they have some freedom to experiment should they feel they don't want to reveal anything too incredible, considering how handedly they are up right now. But it could just be the fact that it's an attacker-sided game, and Reciprocity might equalize with a 5-1 half of their own.
Another interesting thing will be that there's not really anything to cause much delay outside of the windows coming out from EG. There's no smokes or anything like that. There is one C4 and maybe some barbed wire or bulletproof camera, but overall, if they could brute force their way in, they could pull off a similar execute to what EG had been pulling off in that sense, but they've got to go through NVK first and his ability to kind of poke at them as they try and come through anywhere open that he could find with that ACOG. In the meantime, they are trying to at least get some angles down using that, but NVK is waiting for his moment to shine on that as he gets distracted from the other side. There needs to be some early picks coming out here from Reciprocity because I don't have the confidence in them to hold down the same level of execute we've seen from EG so far in those attacking rounds previously.
Well, Foxay thinking better of slowly pushing up directly into a mirror unless he wants to utilize one of his smoke grenades to smoke it off and allow himself some distraction before moving elsewhere up top, but he doesn't really have any support for the moment. He'll regroup down in the middle floor elevator hallways. He'll send out the first logic bomb to ring out all the defenders' phones, and NVK will take a little bit of damage because of that, and Canadian down inside of the basement right now in server will receive a phone call, shots to the floor, just missing again. Floorboards heating up a couple shots there and keeping an Evil Genius defender alive for the time being. Yeah,
unfortunately, the lack of destruction coming to the DMR as well pretty much leaves that floor basically intact. At that point, you might as well have been shooting nail gun through it. But now Canadian sneaking around does get caught up, but actually doesn't even see it at first. But Fox, unfortunately, just not fast enough. It seems to be the case here. He's just trying to work off of communication and pings to get kills, but now he's the one getting pressured and starting to look on the defensive as NVK getting the opportunity to heal up some teammates.
I like this look from Reciprocity, going downstairs and clearing everything out. The problem is they couldn't cut off Canadian. He got away too quickly, and he's still roaming around downstairs. So the second set of logic bombs will come out. They've also utilized a lot of the time available to them. 40 seconds left in a 5v5. They're going to start going right now. Foxay will set the tone early with a pick onto Young. So there goes one of your nitro cells. The other one is downstairs in the basement still, trying to return up the south stairs. So it's up to the 3 remaining members of Evil Geniuses to hold firm on site. Skies holding flank as Retro will push in through Canadian, trying to come upstairs, and he'll take down Skies, equalizing at a 4v4. Necroc's holding off this immediate aggression from Reciprocity, pushing all the way up to the ejected mirror. Canadian is still down below with a nitro cell, and there's not a lot of progression. Reciprocity stalling out, NVK lacing through, but a good shot there from Retro. Lots of trades leave us in a 2v2. Canadian rotating back up a spiral, and he'll down off Mark. Gio will wrap it up. Match point on map number 1 for Evil Geniuses, 6 rounds consecutively.
It's just a smile on Gio's face. I mean, he's already a cheerful guy, but when you're on match point this fast, this is looking pretty hot for them so far. They've got to keep up that momentum for just one more round before they get a moment to go for a slight break for the next map, and that is a great position to be in. They're going to make a little bit of a, I thought they were going to go for the risky play there and go for open area, but no. We will see it go a bit more traditional, because why take the risks when you're on match point? Why give them a chance to get any momentum back, shut them down as fast as possible, get to map number 2, and then just take them there one step at a time? We'll see, though, if some better plays, I would say. I mean, when you're coming into the attack with only the ability to lose 2 rounds, you just cannot get a chance to adjust to the way EG want to defend. You need to win more of those defensive rounds, because now you're just hoping to improvise in a lot of these rounds in terms of, let's hope that what they're bringing is what we're prepared for, because we get no chance to adjust after this. This is map point. You cannot make any mistakes. We need to see more of what we saw from Fox's initial kill, and we need to see them correct mistakes like not catching Canadian in time. There needs to be better coordination like we saw from EG on their attacks, where they just went ham every single time they had the information they needed. And I don't know, maybe there's not the same level of communication going on right now on Reciprocity, but EG seems to be on a hot streak, and they're looking to continue it to try and have this major potential again for them to take it home, because they've been the finalists in so many in a row.
Just going to look at the scoreboard there inside of preparation phase. You saw that Geo is having himself a field day right now at 12 kills, leading the pack on Evil Geniuses. And then Mark and Skies are currently essentially non-existent, 1 and 6s apiece. Just not a lot of influence on the game so far from them, and that's honestly been a problem. It's Laxing and Fox A right now leading the charge on that side.
You just reminded me of something. Geo was actually on a Skies and Laxing's team at the first Invitational, but couldn't make it because of these issues. A familiar theme for Geo fans out there. So it is funny, he's actually fighting his former teammates as well. So you've got Retro on one side, Geo on the other. I love how stacked everything is, just going all the way back to year 1 Invitational here. What a great way to continue the tradition 2 years on.
So Reciprocity regrouping, and they're split quite heavily right now. They're dispersed across the map, but Bank obviously a lot of surface area you want to cover, and you don't want to be grouped up too much. Oh, an immediate challenge from Canadian behind the teller's desk. He'll tag Skies once, and I imagine Troy wants to bait into this gunfight, except he will rip down the south stairs. It'll just be a distractionary tactic to draw Skies off the path. And they'll get drawn into it. The drones will still come out in full force from Reciprocity, from Mark and Retros. They continue to drone out. Oh, lots of pre-fires. NVK is sitting inside of the electric closet, and there go the pings. He's gonna have to fight his way out. It's actually Geo instead of NVK, and he gets ripped to shreds. NVK trying to cover from the top of server stairs, but there's not a lot to be done. The angle is not safe, and everyone on Reciprocity is well aware of this position.
Well, that is one of the top players there on Evil Geniuses down, so they have some advantage. They still have almost a minute and a half left to work with. They just need to stop stacking up on each other. I'm just waiting for one errant bullet to pretty much end their chances this round. They are doing some good droning following that up, but they've got to get a bit more progress to get that plant ready to go down here. They have some utility to start opening things up because they have both the Maverick and the Habana, but at the same time is ticking away, and one kill is not enough for this to work because it didn't work last round when they got another kill as well.
Still a 4v5 and still a little bit of a lack of progression here for Reciprocity as less than a minute ticks away. And NVK still holding down server. No issues there. And the drones coming out. It looks like Reciprocity are trying to mirror and possibly even expand upon what Evil Geniuses were doing with the south stairs push as they're stacking right above that teller's hatch to drop into vault in the backside. Looks like Evil Geniuses are reading this quite well. There's not a lot of time here to be able to execute as Skies pushes through on the opposite side of the wall from Young. They dance around each other on the underside of indestructible walls, and Young whiffing a lot of shots here. The drop shot from Skies will win out. Oh, it's a lot of Evil Genius bodies dropping at a time, but Canadian will bring one back onto Mark, taking a lot of damage. It's Canadian and NVK. It's just NVK left alone now. Inside of CCTV, no hope for him. Stranded alone and disconnected from the rest of the team inside of CCTV, and Rec will at least stop the bleeding for now.
I feel like that dance going on there with Skies completely decided that round. Just the moment to moment, every single time, almost catching each other. And the moment that Skies won that fight, everything fell apart for the rest of the team. Not to mention another kill coming out from Skies after that to end things out. So Reciprocity looking like a little bit shaken, but they've brought it back one more round. So now they've won one defense and one attack. This is still not the place you want to be in, but they bought themselves a little bit of slack, but they still cannot afford to lose any rounds here. They've got to win 4 more in a row just to get that overtime. Not a great place to be in against a team like EG, and I gotta say, part of the reason they won that round was the first kill was to Geo. So technical pause coming out here is the EG are not yet using a tactical timeout because they're not even close to really needing it, to be honest.
No.
As they're still sitting on that map point. Looks like we might have another issue with a player maybe needing to restart his game, possibly. A lot of times those are generally due to audio issues more often than not, just because whether it be to audio hardware issues, audio things that come up in the game, just a lot of reasons sound is a thing. And as you heard from some of the previous features we had here, sound is a very important part of this game.
I love the staring contest we have with the audience every time we have a break. It's a good time.
Yeah, definitely will. It's going to be a staring contest between players if this doesn't get started soon. Here you see the anticipation, the hand warmers coming out for anyone wondering what they're playing with in their hand. It is those hand warmers to try and keep themselves and their hands warm between these rounds. try and keep themselves ready to go. See if EG can pull off this Teller's defense any better than they pulled off that Lockers. This is something I do think they could manage to pull off, but it is still Reciprocity's game, this map to lose at this point in terms of their inability to bring back a comeback streak. But hey, at least they've managed to get one round. They've shown that maybe, you know, attack is the side to be on despite the Jackal ban. But we'll see what EG have in store this round in terms of surprises, particularly from Canadian on a roam or Geo.
I like what I saw from Reciprocity last round, honestly, throwing Convention by the wayside. There are not many vault drops on attacking walkers on bank anymore that are successful, and honestly not that many that are even attempted anymore. So a good adaptation there for Reciprocity, and it nets them their first win since the very first round of the game.
It helped that they had two operators that could deal with hatches, and also Sky's getting control right where he did after that dance was a big part of helping them secure that, basically that beachhead they needed to make that attack happen. Although that wall being reinforced into the CCTV did slow things down in terms of attack. I'm sorry, the Lockers, because he wasn't able to spray through it despite the ping, so yeah, it did slow a little bit. We'll see though if their droning's able to catch. There we go, one spotted. We've got to execute it on this a little bit faster. Try and make this count. That is just going to give it away at this point, give him the chance to scurry off.
Looks like that's Young inside of Kitchen right now, and he'll finally spot out Laxing's drone and continue to maneuver away from the hailstorm of bullets coming into the printer window. Fox A has made his way inside of Loan Office. Retro popping up an elevator hallway wall. Top floors. It looks like NVK is going to be first engagement against Retro. Former teammates going head-to-head. NVK inside of an elevator right now with an ACOG. Not a bad place to be, honestly. Stuck in a box with a lot of utility to heal yourself back up and retake engagements. Now Foxy going for a flank through this partly disintegrated Teller's wall. He's got to be wary of that flank, but Foxy will rip right through NVK through that hatch. That's the dock taken care of upstairs in the elevator hallway, which means Canadian is now left alone topside.
Well, doing a good job here with that initial pick yet again, but last round it was definitely difficult for them to turn that initial pick into a kill. And Canadian getting traded back, though, absolutely worth it, but Geo still alive doing damage.
This might be the first round in a while where we don't have a 5v5 with 20 seconds left. Finally down to a 3v3. Good spot to be in for Evil Geniuses. Still have a lot of utility, protecting colors and archives. Your one thing is you don't really have a lot of back pressure, but Young will facilitate some of that, taking down Laxing. Now it's a double push for the rest of Reciprocity. Keep themselves alive on bank as they try to push in through the right Teller's door. The Toxic Babe will hold them off, and Young lighting up the vault. Oh man, everyone on Reciprocity now. Mark and Fox very low on HP. Necrox with one, trying to go for two. Over the desk with a shotgun, long range, but all it will take is one pellet for Fox A to fall. Necrox just missing, barely. But he dances back and forth, and there's not a lot to be done. Both 5 HP. The last Toxic Babe will be expended on the right Teller's door. Fox A going for a flank around. He'll walk into the waiting arms of Geo, should he. Thinks better of it as the diffuser is left, and now he'll finally commit to going down the hallway. Geo hears him coming, playing it safe. As Fox A has hit the deck to try and peek the holes, and all it takes is one peek from Geo. That's map one in the books. Evil Geniuses one map away from a rematch against G2, this time in the semifinals.
What a fantastic play there. I definitely think Reciprocity had a chance in that because of so many kills so early on. They were able to actually give themselves enough time to play with, especially thanks to that early kill from Fox, but he was unable to handle himself alone there despite the time advantage they have because the health entirely on the side of the defenders, and two of them left with the diffuser sitting away from them. Just not a lot you could do with that situation. Played it best he could, but now it's on the map too.
You can see the scoreboard there. Geo taking charge with 14 kills by the end of it. Fox A doing his best with 10, and Laxing not far behind, but the numbers start to trail off quite drastically near the bottom of the scoreboard for Reciprocity, unfortunately. So that's map one. That is Bank in the books. See some replays coming out from map number one on Bank. Map number two, though, Villa, as we move onwards with this series. That's one map in the books, honestly, with a lot of intensity and authority coming out from Evil Geniuses. That was not very close.
Yeah, no, it was definitely their pick, and for a good reason. And now that they have such a high-powered coach on their side, bringing a lot of strats and a lot of determination to the team, I think it's really worked out for them this whole season. Yes, they did lose to Reciprocity in the Pro League, but that's a best-of-1 series where this is a best-of-3. So Reciprocity could go back, but EG could also stomp it out 2-0 because they got their map. Reciprocity gets theirs now. But if you look at the stats, it's also a good map for EG. It's definitely a good map for Reciprocity. But either way, if it happens to be just a little bit better for EG, then it's just a 2-0 here to end the day. And that would be tragic for Reciprocity, who've come very far despite their strugglings early on, especially coming out from Challenger League, despite some of the high-profile players on this team.
Yeah, I think a lot of us here in the scene and who are working the event, and honestly, a lot of the fans here in attendance and watching around the world back home, we're anticipating this to be a little bit closer. Granted, that's one map out of a possible 3, and there's still a possibility that Reciprocity can mirror with just as strong as a performance on Villa. But like you said, the stats don't really lie, and EG has a pretty good history on Villa as well. Most notably, their unveiling of their Villa strats week 13 against then known as SK, now Dark Zero in Season 8 of the Pro League.
Yeah, it's definitely the case where they're going to have a whole new set of strats to be able to make this work for Reciprocity. Because EG, of course, are going to study everything you do. They're going to look to counter-strat. They're going to look to do whatever they can to pick apart the little weaknesses in their defense. And Gio, also known for being a very smart player, is going to be doing that mid-round. It's something that he's been very good at when he's allowed to stay alive. And pretty much the only rounds that they really did all that well in Reciprocity were when they were able to shut down Gio. They just need to take him out if they're going to make this work. He looks pretty happy, whereas can't say the same for Reciprocity. They're looking a little bit concerned. Fox's hair wasn't already white. I imagine it would be at this point.
It's the problem for Reciprocity is they're usually a pretty lighthearted group. We've seen them, their face cams throughout a lot of games already through the group stage. They honestly seemed very easygoing, even in some dark times where it looked like things weren't going to go very well. For instance, the losers bracket game against NIP that went 3 maps. That was still a shining moment for Reciprocity, a perfect example of resiliency and honestly their lighthearted spirits carrying over even through a lost map that really looked like they should have won in the first place.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams could take a page out of Noah Rango's book, not just for the fact that it keeps their spirits up, but it also keeps the fans on their side. They've made a lot of new fans this week, and I think they'll continue to do so as they're still in it. But we're going to get into Villa now. And this is a do or die for Reciprocity. No comebacks in this tournament. They got to win this map if they need to get map 3, and they're going to have to take that one as well.
Their backs against the wall. Team Reciprocity, the new kids on the block at the top of NA, look to fight off the storied veterans of Evil Geniuses who are in line currently to make a run against G2 to make it to the finals, a rematch of last year's grand final, which we're all very aware of what happened in this city last year.
Yeah, the constant shutting down from EG of Jackal here, definitely interesting to see that they know how much they like to play Jackal on Reciprocity's side. I hope at some point Reciprocity were prepared for that because did not seem to be the case on Bank, and this is now their map. Glaz going to be put out, so we're not going to have to watch Canadian play Glaz anymore, so he's done us all a solid there on that ban. And there goes the mirror. So 2 ops that were played somewhat last map will not be played here now, but Echo going to be consistent along with that Jackal. So that is the 2 consistent bans that are coming out from EG. So it's more just on Reciprocity side changing things up as they had previously banned Thermite and Maestro. That does mean though we will have Maestro in play. So I got to imagine a huge impact on the map he debuted on here, as he pretty much always makes a huge impact, and some of that's not just due to his size.
And VK locking it in right away, picking the Maestro, and Aviator Games Room will be Evil Genius's primary defense to start things off, and Gio flashing a Clash very early on. I don't know how realistic is he keeps that, considering Young would most likely be the shield player, and there we go. Gio gonna swap off in a 6-pick. Another 6-pick on the opposite side of the board from Reciprocity, coming out from Skies, a Capitao to a Buck, so seemingly reading that this clash is very unlikely and unrealistic, and swapping off for something with a little more vertical utility, I know how to speak, versus Capitao's very horizontal utility.
Well, I am a little surprised, not necessarily because Buck is not even more useful on this map, but just because Skies, I'm sorry, in this case it was Skies, not Fox. I was thinking Fox has played so much, but this is besides Not quite the same there. Skies is going to be taking that roll up. But Fox played so much Sledge on mini maps. It's surprising to see him not bring that here. Maybe we'll see it future rounds. But he is bringing something of a party here. Hopefully going to be a little bit more effective on that than Sexy Cake was in their map there on Border last time. So NVK, though, is going to be definitely bringing that Maestro that we were expecting. They're also going to have something that G2 didn't feel like they needed too much, which is the Jaeger, bringing some of those ADSs to protect from those nades. But I can imagine Skies is going to be looking to try and get in along with those Candelas. And I can imagine as well smoke canisters coming out from Laxing. We'll be down to Retro to help take those out with those EMPs.
Typical hold so far for Evil Geniuses, as nothing has really changed from the strategy we've seen in the past. But Sky is going to start things off onto Canadian. I imagine it was on the far side. It was over in the walk-in closet by Master Bedroom.
It's a good thing he'd set down all those ADSs, didn't try and keep it in his pocket. Great initial pick there. That is the way to start things off on your map. Really make your mark early on and start to punish them. Just take control of the map as quickly as you can, drone well, communicate well, and just see if you can take that one single kill early on and snowball. But it is on to Canadian, the IGL, and he's just going to be spending this time watching cameras, calling things out for his team, using those evil eyes as well, and he's going to be watching those, better believe it. So I don't know if they really put that much hurt on the team. It's not uncommon to see Canadian die early on this map.
They'll have to survive the next minute and 45 seconds without Canadian. His remarkably powerful 416 carbine, your biggest fragging force on defense other than the Alda currently, as NVK holds that mantle. But you're down a man, you're waiting for Reciprocity to kind of tip their hand at where they're looking to coalesce and begin their ingress into the objective from.
Already lost their cams to the hacks from Laxing. So nicely done early on, because now that is going to make them have to face them consciously and make sure they know which way they're facing, which leaves a little bit less opportunity for Canadian to use them as freely, because now both teams have that same intel. So that is a nice use of that initial kill in terms of getting the hack cameras. Remember when hack cameras were just not much of a thing, and now how prevalent they are? Fantastic to see the Gadget play always stepping up a notch after the operator debuts for a while.
Takes a little bit of time for that utility to be fully discovered, but after it does, it's remarkable what these players can come up with. And it's a four-man stack inside of the objective. NVK is trying to hold off the both study balcony and the aviator doors. A Candela will be botched to not make it through the doorway. Now NVK full blind, the third Candela coming in, and Foxay not pushing off it, but Mark is putting down the diffuser inside of Games Room. The ping's coming out, concussion nade slowing him down, and Geo will make it work with a team kill and a kill onto Mark with the Nitro Cell. Retro is filled right in his place though, and turning the corner but can't land the shotgun blast is Geo. NVK with a trade onto Foxay, and the plant will get down in mere milliseconds before Necrox can claim the life of Retro. It's a 2v2, Skies and Laxing, the old duo up against NVK and Necrox.
Speaking of old duos, well, this is definitely down to the wire again. This time they have two people left alive, something they didn't have in a lot of rounds. Clutching out on bank here, and as time ticks down, Skies is going to have to hold an angle and make it work.
Uses the skeleton key to blast away NVK, turning away just for a moment, but it'll be a trade between Necrox and Laxing, and Reciprocity will take round number one by mere milliseconds on that plant.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind, having the plant down means if you trade in that situation as the attacker, it doesn't matter, because plant being down, the defenders are not left alive to disarm it, so you automatically win at that point. I was impressed at how quickly they were able to get that plant down while distracting everyone with the Candelas. I think that definitely was a good show of just making it look like something else was going, making a bit more of a production while they used smoke to cover the plant. It was unfortunate that they were not able to stick it the first time, but the upside of that is GeoC4 did kill a teammate while that was going out, so stopping the plant did cost them a bit and ultimately gave them a second chance at the plant, which did win them the round, especially due to Skies holding the one angle on the diffuse cover. We'll see if they can repeat that, but a good start for them on their map. We'll see if they can pull it off. As a nice little fun fact there about EG on Villa.
5-1 since adding Gotcha. And the very first day they ever debuted it was that Week 13 game against SK back in Season 8, now known as Dark Zero, and they absolutely wiped the floor with that team. 6-1 on Villa. Well, EG will drop round number 1, not unlike they did on Bank, before running 6 back in a row of their own. So very possible we're in for a mirror image here. However unlikely, as Reciprocity is fairly familiar with Villa and know how to operate.
I think at this point we're also going to need to pop the fact of how many times Gotcha has had to play for the team since joining, because it has definitely been quite a few. Definitely been a struggle for them sometimes in terms of having that, but he does make for a nice little crutch. When you've got a coach that can play as good as him, something that Fnatic know well.
How many times Gotcha has DDoSed Geo to steal his roster spot, you mean?
It certainly worked out so far. Or poison his food, I suppose.
There you go.
Skies though looking and trying to get some angles early on, but no Canadian pick early in the round just yet. Although again, that is something we have seen happen quite a few times on Villa. He tends to get hunted. This time it is NVK with the drones coming at him, the hunt coming down. Fortunately, he is not able to stop the drone because it does manage to escape. Laxing, though, does have some nice drones to work off of. This is what they need to manage their drone economy here, because they do not have the Jackal, so the drones are that much more important in isolating these roamers and making sure they can actually execute on that and not lose those in the process to be able to continue to push from there. But Canadians also going to have some extra cameras to back up NVK's cameras, but they are also not going to have the ADSs this time. Relaxing. Gonna repeat it, Canadian again, not long for this world.
First to fall, once again on the far side of the map, this time downstairs will be Canadian, so no impact on the Villa game so far for the Canadian on home soil. Most impressive thing about Reciprocity on Villa is the way that they disperse and individually push from all angles. They collapse and completely smother you on Villa. It's impressive to watch because typically trying to play those individual games will not work out well for you. This guy's playing a little game with NVK, darting back and forth with the drone as we approach the last minute in the round, and NVK is going to go for a full-on flank on the far side as a Maestro.
Well, that is going to give them a chance to reload, as that drone was testing the capacity of that magazine. But Mark, in the meantime, is getting a lot of good intel, and this is looking like they're getting set up for this execute. They still have 55 seconds left, but they have all the intel they need on the position. The cameras are hacked. They can do their thing now. It's got to come out here soon, and that's where the Thatcher's working to make sure to clear out any goo mines that might impede their progress into the site, but replacement goo mines quickly come out.
NVK stunned at the aviator door, and Young battling back and forth on the other side of a pool table, and here comes Laxling angling in, trying to catch anyone off guard on the rotates or trying to get aggressive onto that study door. And go towards the bottom of red stairs. There's 25 seconds left, and here comes the push. Skies will rip right through Necrox, and now establishing a 5v3 as they all collapse into the objective. Hitting the deck and turning the corner will be Foxy, but he ripped to shreds by Young. Geo tacks on with a shotgun kill of his own, so leveling at 3v3. Mark on 5 HP will get shredded by NVK. There goes the diffuser. Shotgun point blank range by Geo. It's all up to Skies, twisting in the wind inside of Aviator. Not a lot of places to go. NVK in the quick peaks. The Nitro Cell will detonate. It won't matter. The time expires, and mirroring Bank, EG respond right back with a strong win of their own.
Great delays there in terms of stalling that out. And I got to credit a lot to the goo mines as well. You saw the shot attempting to come around on the vault, partially because he got goo mined mid-attempt at trying to peek around inside of the vault. He absolutely wasn't able to take that gunfight, got shot from another angle, and it just collapsed from there. You saw the control just fall apart. I like the way they changed out, though, when Skies needed to reload. He let Fox run in, but just, again, those goo mines, they were not cleared out at that particular position by the EMPs. I gotta imagine they weren't trying to telegraph it, and that smothering you were talking about trying to happen, just not working out due to being shut down too often. Again, Canadian dying early, he's just gonna be calling out everything he can. But again, I also gotta appreciate he is managing to give his phone up to Laxing every single round. He's like, you know what, bud, you just go ahead and take it from here. And unfortunately, it did not work out that round in terms of getting enough intel to be able to execute cleanly on that. We'll see how they go this time, as of course they cannot play Aviator games again, so it's on to the secondary bomb site more often than not, and that's going to be Trophy.
Well, one of the most terrifying things about that Canadian's phone keeps getting hacked every single round very early on is the amount of cameras that Evil Geniuses are displaying. You've got both Evil Eyes, you've got 3 Black Eyes and the Valkyrie. You could be bringing a bulletproof camera on Young, although I highly doubt it, as that Nitro Cell is pretty important. But they're also losing a Nitro Cell in Canadian off rip.
Yeah.
They need to try and conserve him, or honestly, he needs to head to the basement or something and try and draw out the roam hunt. Because right now he's not killing enough time, not bringing enough utility. He's got to swap things up and get things rolling because he really is the focal point of that aggressive game on Villa.
I gotta say, I'm kind of surprised he's not playing Vigil, which is his kind of usual roam go-to when he's not playing Pulse, especially when they banned out Jackal, which is the one thing that can track Vigil. But at the same time, I guess he feels like the extra utility he's bringing to his team if he dies on roam, having the cameras up matters. But no, this time it's NVK to die first, who has again played that Jaeger, so it's the second initial Jaeger death for EG. Again, got to imagine those ADSs were put up first, but either way, he is now put down first. And that was one of the top fraggers on the team, although in this case, a lot of times that's been Geo is put down. So a lot of flexible roam lost off the board. They've still got to find and shut down Canadian, although they're almost shutting down each other, jumping in just timed right to dodge those shots.
Very unfortunate peak there for NVK, as there wasn't just one Reciprocity member, there were two staring at that window. And droning out Young now, as he's playing in behind the bar. Launch got a Nitro Cell, it won't come close to connecting on anyone on Reciprocity. Now Sky's going for an immediate push through the vault. Young still playing in behind the bars. The drones come out from Retro to confirm this. Canadian playing 90 in attempt to support, but the Mute Chamber will keep the information away. Oh, but Canadian will rotate right into the waiting arms of Skies inside of the vault. So now Young will try and balance this out. Flashbangs come raining in. Partially blind Young, and he'll stand up and fight, and it'll be a trade right one after another. Skies will fall, but Fox down the immediate trade out, and now it's a 4v2 for Team Reciprocity to clap the slate with.
Well, we've got two strong defenders left. Geo and Necrox has been a beast with that gun as well, but a whole minute to work with. They did lose some of the entry frag from Skies, but Fox and Laxing have both been in a lot of clutch positions, and they're both still left alive. This is completely doable for Reciprocity.
First set of toxic babes will come out on the side of Necrox. He's trying to delay the ingress of Team Reciprocity in through the hallways. Foxay prone on the ground right now in the middle of statuary, just slug boying his way all the way in, and they both line up for him. He grabs one, just tags Necrox for the second one, but on the repeat, he lands it perfectly. And Reciprocity won't have a repeat of Bank. They get 2 out of the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's already as many rounds as they pulled off on Bank. So yeah, a good start for them because, well, they need to, as this is the last map they might get if they don't. And also it's their map. They need to be playing this at a level above EG because this is a good map for them as well. A map that they know very well. And you see a little bit of stress coming there, although I gotta admit, Young never really looks happy. So I'm not expecting too much out of that. But the swigs of water to calm things down. As they come in this next round, I think they're expecting a little bit of a hard fight from Reciprocity, and they're certainly getting it so far. But Canadian needs to live a little bit longer, even though he's the second kill that round. That is only slightly living longer. And a nice early kill on NVK, of course, was fortunate because once the kill came out onto Canadian, that left them in a great position to push forward from there.
Yeah, it's 3 consecutive rounds now. Evil Genius is still 1-1 in the case, but 3 straight rounds where they drop a member inside the first minute and have to play the majority of the round out 4v5. So Evil Genius is here. I get that you want to set the tone. I get that you want to continue over your winning ways from Bank. Maybe cool a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Play back.
I mean, that is the thing, is they are kind of cooling them off a little bit, and that is something that Reciprocity actually could play into, is the fact that they now may have some momentum. If you can cool EG down a little bit, they can also be an emotional team, something we've touched on a few times, because this is a game where emotions do affect your ability to aim. They affect their ability to focus, to pay attention, to listen for sounds, to pay attention and communicate to your teammates as well. So it's not everything, but it certainly matters in this game, and the ability to manage your emotions and your opponent's emotions is always going to be a factor, and something that Canadian especially could be prone to.
Foxay running right back to the IQ role, as 3-speed seemed to be his forte on both sides of the game, whether it be offense or defense, and had a lot of success lately on Reciprocity on his roaming duo with either Laxing or Skies, whoever they send out with him, and Seems like Reciprocity, instead of pushing from the far side as a majority this time, will stack on the master balcony, angle their way in. They don't have any hard breaching though, and that's been a common theme for Reciprocity as well, not bringing a lot of hard breachers, or even utilizing the hard breachers that they do bring.
Surprising how good Maverick is on this map. Well, they would not bring that, but they got a plan for the possibility that he is going to be banned. It is surprising to see Canadian actually as well, bringing in an operator that once it's dead will not be bringing in additional utility, as he'd been playing Jaeger and Valkyrie, something that had the ability to put down their gadgets before dying. So in this case, it's all or nothing for him. He needs to make some peeps work.
Well, we got to give full commendations to Evil Geniuses, all 5 members making it out of the first minute alive, and that's a gold star for one of them.
Accomplishments.
Big success story, but they're still trying to lock down Astronomy. There's not a lot of pressure, active pressure right now for Evil Geniuses on Astronomy. They don't really have it locked down. Foxay's made it all the way up the Astronomy stairs. Zia waits a flank, and the first box of Babe from Necrox will come out as he tries to hold off from the side door, but the rappel coming out from Foxay, he tries to take a very long-range shotgun engagement, and it doesn't really work out very well. He hasn't landed a single shot on Foxay yet.
He's got to be careful though. He's given away his position a lot with his rope on rappel as well, but smokes starting to come out are going to be counteracted by smokes coming from Necrox again as well. So this window rappel not really doing a whole lot to actually get this plant down.
Just absolute chaos inside of Astronomy right now as 3 members from Reciprocity try and push in. 1 inside of Master, 1 downstairs holding the flank. NVK taking a lot of damage from across the way. Foxay will grab 2 as NVK and Necrox will both fall. Trying to get the plant down. Young will launch out the Nitro Cell and dispatch of Mark. There goes Geo taking down Foxay. An immediate trade from Retro onto Geo. So it's a 2v3 for Young and Canadian to try and work their way out of.
Well, Canadian living longer this time definitely bodes well for the team, along with the ability to heal himself and possibly a teammate up. Could make this clutch attempt more possible, but Laxing shutting that down immediately. It is all in Young, and he's already used his C4. It's not going to happen. Sky's cleaning it up. Nice round for Reciprocity, continuing that momentum. You got to wonder then what will happen when the side switch. Will the momentum continue if it even makes it that far? But now, Evil Genius has got to decide, do we continue to push Trophy? Do we make the switch to Aviator Games now that we can? Because Trophy has not been a good one for them. And the fact that they don't seem to have a good secondary bomb site is a real problem for EG on defense, because the bottom bomb sites are just not that great.
Unsuccessful twice in a row over on the side of Statuary and Trophy. The replay on Foxay's push in the lineup for Necrox and NVK as Foxay dispatched of both of them with ease, and that was kind of the story. Is a lot of Astronomy pressure coming up from Reciprocity and not a lot of pressure back in response to the Evil Geniuses in towards one of the linchpins of this objective, which is that Astronomy room, one of the most crucial pivot points on the entire map.
Well, definitely something that the repelling on the window, for as long as they did, actually didn't backfire on them. I'm a little surprised, but it was the control of the room that they had at the same time. I think that mattered. They were controlling the stairs, they were controlling the room itself. They had the window to cover the flank while he was watching the stairs. It was good teamwork that helped with the push, but also some good kills. It was unfortunate for Mark that he did get C4'd partway through that plant, as it looked like he was going to be able to stick it otherwise, but just good read from Young, who is very good at stopping those plants, so I'm not surprised there. But Mark looks like he could be bringing out something that I was talking about earlier. Surprising not to see before then, but here it is.
Well, back to Aviator and Games Room will go for Evil Geniuses. We're 4 rounds out of 6 into the first half before sides will swap and Evil Geniuses will head to the attack. Reciprocity to the defense, and once again, Reciprocity bringing this high tempo lineup. Lots of 3 speeds, lots of ability to maneuver with ease, lots of high rate of fire weapons on the side of Reciprocity's attack. And it's been a problem for EG to contend with right now. The fragging force and the collapse from all directions really being the issue for EG to try and contend with against Reciprocity. There's not much time to be able to react, and it's almost similar to the way that EG were pushing the basement on bank last game, the last map, in which it's just an absolute fiesta of utility dumped into one room and as much firepower as possible pushing through.
And I feel like while it's Fox and Skies on, or I'm sorry, Fox and Laxing on defense, it seems to be Fox and Skies on offense when it comes to utilizing those 3 speeds, becoming kind of the spears of the attack. Because we've seen both of them doing very good work with that, especially Skies. And it seems to be working very well. Like you said, that aggression absolutely paying off. But it's funny to see the duos kind of switch up. Fox kind of being the pivot point for both of those. Laxing has managed to get some kills as well, though, but he's definitely been pivotal in making sure that those early hacks deny them a lot of the utility. There is going to be one camera down. Canadian is trying to play the cameras again because, well, he didn't get a lot out of that dock. Even when he was in that clutch situation, he was the first to go. So we'll see if NBK can survive a little bit longer this time again on the Maestro. Could be a big difference maker here in terms of making this work. But last time Young playing on the Legion definitely made a difference, I think.
Well, that's 2 Valkyrie cameras taken away at the hands of Fox with that electronic sensor. And once again, it's Reciprocity stacking majorly for the study balcony and study push, but on the other side, the Skies on the Ash, pushing from trophy onwards, try and clear out anyone playing it.
Oh, look at Mark looking at his teammate's screen to decide exactly where to do this.
Toxic Babe will come out to repel Mark off the wall, and there goes Canadian with a deagle as he ran out of ammo on the MPX and escapes with his life. So finally, Canadian is not the opening pick. He acquires the opening pick, and it's Laxing, so no one's phones can get hacked for the rest of the round. A good response here. Those are also the only smokes on the side of Team Reciprocity, one of the biggest proponents of havoc for Reciprocity when they go for their site execute.
Now, again, keep in mind, though, Canadian not only was low on health, but he is now finished off by Fox. But like you said, at least his camera is not going to go. But this time, Mark also taking a lot of damage, down to about 50 HP. Hopefully did what he needed for his team to get set up for this possible plant here. So far, he is the one to try and make that plant on such low health. Could be a big mistake, could end up with Diffuser down inside the room.
Mark taking a lot of damage from impact nade detonating point blank range through the doorway, and now the blowtorch coming out again to try and find some nice little punch holes in towards the vault that NBK currently holds down, and Mark just spamming wildly through. So there's 30 seconds remaining. It's coming down to a 4v4 and another massacre inside the objective, all rushing through one door, it seems, as they all stack outside a study and the 90 hallway. About to push the door, and NBK lying in wait with the Alda primed and ready to go. A push into Aviator, and a second one through the door. NBK will grab one on the Skies, he downs the second one, trying to go for 3. NBK! He gets them all! A triple kill in about 5 seconds. And Evil Genius is responding kind, bringing one back, only down 1 with 1 round remaining in the first half.
Well, unfortunately for Reciprocity, they got delayed time and time again on trying to make that push. Having Mark on low health definitely made the actual plant attempt just that much more difficult, and his 6 pick over to the Maverick wasn't enough to change things up that round. But again, it does force Evil Geniuses right back to their weak bomb site of Trophy. So that is the price you pay for being an EG and winning Aviator games, is you get 2 rounds out of it on your defense if they cannot change things on Trophy. Some great plays from a lot of the team, but just unfortunately not enough against that. Alda just NBK spraying wildly into the smoke is, well, that's all you need to do with 80 bullets and a heck of a gun.
80 bullets, a remarkable fire rate, and pretty manageable recoil. But that was last round. This is the last round of the first half on Villa, the second map. EG dominating Bank, take the first map 7-2. This one's a little bit of a closer contest on Villa, currently 3-2 in the favor of Reciprocity, and Evil Geniuses looking to equalize before heading into the second half. And to be honest, on Villa, it's more of a defender-sided map, so the fact that they've struggled on this particular bomb site quite a lot against Reciprocity is going to be an issue down the road.
And I can imagine those map bans, or the operator bans might have factored a little bit into that. And like I said, EG was consistent with their bans from Bank, whereas the change-ups were coming out from Reciprocity's side. We'll see, though, if they can continue the streak, or if EG, having played this bomb site enough times now, has figured out what they were doing wrong. Not a huge amount of change-ups on their defense, but there are some changes. Will they be enough, as Reciprocity themselves are not changing up a ton either? It's just down to who can get some of those initial picks, or whether or not one team's going to get stalled out trying to press for the plant. See a lot of the, so that Fox and Skies duo, that the 6 kills there at the top of their team. Skies, though, going to continue his success, trying to push things in, looking for hitting those cameras. That Canadian's going to be sprinkling around the map like so much magic. So he's looking for opportunity here as well to try and do some work for his team. but he needs his team to follow him up soon here. Otherwise, those drones aren't going to be doing a ton for them.
Well, and that seems to be the contrast between Bank and Villa, is that Skies is present again, having a meaningful impact on the game in every single round, pushing force that is hard to contend with, instead of I guess twisting in the wind and not really having much of an effect on Bank. Stark contrast here, but there's other members of Reciprocity that have fallen off, and it looks like, again, Reciprocity will stack for the Astronomy take. Overwhelming force stacking towards Astronomy in the master bedroom as they wait to push through. And then the only real flank possible will be up the Astronomy stairs, and that's been shut down multiple times by Laxing holding the flank downstairs. So limited opportunities here for EG to really try and surprise Reciprocity. It's most likely, again, going to come down to that 4v4, 5v5s. They completely surrender Astronomy, and here comes Skies just slow walking his way in. He's turning the corner on a standing up Young, and he'll eviscerate him with no contest. First Toxic Babe comes out from Necrox, and MVK will lead straight out. Fox takes shotgun, point blank range from Necrox. Will drop down Mark, and the diffuser surrendered. MVK busting out of the far side to try and return and help out the rest of the team with a minute remaining.
Not only is that diffuser dropped, but that's also the diffuser dropped right near Necrox, who can now use smokes to deny it, and he might not need to because Laxing is going to fall as well. So it is all down to Retro and Skies, but Retro proving his own.
Picks up one onto NVK, waiting for the return back to site. It's Retro and Skies stuck in a 2v3 now after Retro got the first kill. Skies still inside of Astronomy, full blinds Necrox, but he allows the flash to expire, and on the ground, point blank range. Now Skies and Retro will collect themselves inside of Statue. Waiting for the peek on the ground once again is Retro. Can't get off the ground. He's missing a lot of shots, but he stalls long enough for the timer on the diffuser to go down. And Nitrocell will land. Aaron, a flank now by Necrox and Canadian. A pinch from either side leaves Retro alone in a 1v3, coming to blows up against Necrox and shuts him down inside. But Canadian is already counter-diffusing, and Retro is nowhere near. All Geo has to do is hold it out. He'll get the kill. Evil Geniuses equalize. It's a tie game as we head into the second half.
Well, now it'll, of course, be down to Reciprocity to have a much better defensive game than we saw out of EG. Otherwise, their best hope at that point is just going to be overtime. See Sky's a little dismayed after his best efforts that round, but he's definitely been making them. He's made them on attack, did not have a huge impact on defense on Bank. This is where he needs to continue whatever hot streak he might be having onto the defensive side if they want to make this work, because the combined effort of Skies, Fox, and Laxing would be a force to be reckoned with here for EG. Laxing going to be sneaking onto a pick, possibly? No, he's not. He is going to allow Skies to sneak. This could be Canadian trying something. I suppose he has played quite a bit of good Ashe, so we'll see how that works out for him.
I imagine it's just a change of pace for him, considering he had quite the lackluster first half, only really being influential on that last round there, and that's kind of unfortunate for the guy who really sets the tone and brings the energy, the hype for your team. And it really sets the tone for the entire squad, and we've talked about it plenty of times before. Evil Geniuses are a team that need a full team effort, everyone jumping in all together. One person starts to slow down, they all start to slow down. But man, when they're all cranking, it's hard to slow them down.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, Laxing can be a bit more impactful than he was on attack a lot of times. That with that Vigil is definitely going to be something they're going to have to do with, because they also lose out on that Jackal, so they cannot benefit from the ability to track him down. So again, I was surprised to not see Canadian on those plays, although he was not hugely impactful on a lot of his operator roles. So I suppose it wouldn't have made that much difference, because again, he wouldn't have left any utility behind other than possibly a bolt camera had he played on that role. So see this round, we are still going to have Legions coming out from Fox, who was playing quite a bit of Legion on Bank as well, somewhat successfully. Sky's actually going to be on the mute. Something could get some impact out of here, but it's also going to help deny a little bit of intel, as well as maybe even help Laxing stay alive a little bit longer. Fox, though, is going to be doing his own roam thing. Nice fact there about Reciprocity winning a lot of their entry duels. I think a lot of those also got to be credited to this map.
Absolutely, and also credited to the awakening of Skies. Definitely having a resurgence. Oh, NVK up to the floorboards. Blast Retro back to the Shadow Realm. That's an early pick for Evil Geniuses to start things off. That's your smoke gone too. Trying to look through some kill holes in the floor with a shotgun. It's a bad look there for Reciprocity to start things off. And Evil Geniuses getting closer and closer. They only need 4 rounds to have a rematch with G2.
Yeah, Retro did not need to be peeking that hole right there. And now that is going to start to skew the opening duels stat slightly more in favor of EG. Because now they've got those kills. That is going to be an important one to push on the site because goo mines are the only thing that's really going to slow them down on the site push, other than the C4 coming out from the skies potentially. Goo mines, though, going to do exactly that right off the bat, slowing down this entry, as there's now only a minute 15 left to actually make this push happen. Although we could see some of those goo mines actually go out due to this shock drone from Geo, and he's going to at least take out this camera. So something getting there.
He's also leaving it at 90 for a flank drone, just to give calls on anyone rotating around, and it looks like Laxing will be the man to flank if there should be one. Waiting over by the aviator door to try and push in or go for a flank through 90 down the long hall outside of the games room. Foxay's taking a lot of damage downstairs, and he's gone for a rotation all the way to the basement. It looks like he'll be coming up towards Canadian, who's just landed on a Legion mine. He'll come to blows in just a few moments here.
Well, Elite's hole's going to open up angles that are being fought now, but Young, unfortunately, just not fast enough to use his own holes to win that gunfight. These holes, however, will also become entry points that will be predicted by the members of Reciprocity. They've just got to play whatever angles they can at this point, but very good gains by EG. However, 18 seconds remaining and a nice starting kill by Necrox there.
Unfortunate timing for Laxing as he stands up into a hailstorm of bullets connecting with his skull. Another one for Necrox. Foxay, though, will trade it immediately out. It's a 2v3. Foxay still trying to repeat back to the site. And Young and NVK have site control. Canadian coming upstairs. They need to get the plant down, though. And busting out of the far side is Foxay, last man alive as the plant is going down. Holding the door is NVK with a double kill. A triple kill on the round for Nathan Valenti. And we move forward with Evil Geniuses now up 4-3, taking the lead on Villa, 3 rounds away from the semifinals.
Well, that is definitely not the place you want to be in. Had they won map 1, not as big a deal, but now they go from having the lead to losing the lead. Reciprocity gonna have to pull out whatever big guns they had left, and this is where you cannot afford to save anything for the final because you need to just get there. EG, on the other hand, have been there plenty of times. Reciprocity have yet to make their mark on there, although, like I said, some of the players have in the past, but it's been a while for some of them. They've definitely been denied that by EG and G2 in the past. So they're going to have to work extra hard on this, and this is where they're also going to have to do that counter-stratting that Canadian's famous for. We need to see that from Reciprocity, or they're just going to be wiped off the map here because, well, it's only 2 points away from match point against them.
Well, Reciprocity will reattempt the Aviator and Games Room defense as that came down to a 1v2 and a 2v2 just moments prior, so it wasn't the worst round in the world for them, but it was really the expert play from both Necrox and NVK on beautiful, beautiful picks. Monka Anchors holding down slight angles. It's a good demonstration of marksmanship there from Evil Geniuses as they were kind of running low on time, and it seems like that's been the theme of the day on Villa is time control and time management, not at 100% for any team really today.
I'm interested to see if the Maverick coming out from Geo is going to make any more of an impact than it did for Reciprocity. It is something that is often banned on this map because of his ability to use that horizontal play from his ability to open a lot of walls. It's something that Fabian had said in the past, is if a map is horizontal, Maverick is going to get some kind of advantage on it because he's not trying to use it in a vertical way, but we've actually seen that shift. He's become more of a hatch operator, especially on bank. But Geo being the smart player is, I gotta imagine he's gonna get some advantage out of this here, and hopefully not gonna be in the same situation we saw Mark with, where he was also the attempted planter, because Young is gonna be the one in this case, so might get a bit more out of it, assuming he doesn't stick his face right in the holes and get shot straight between the eyes.
Yeah, honestly, I think at the end of that round, if Reciprocity still have Retro and those 3 Toxic Babes, I don't think Evil Geniuses come away with that round just because of how low on time they were and how much of a stall factor Retro could have been.
Yep.
They didn't breach through any walls. They weren't creating new pathways into the objective. They were pushing the same doors that Reciprocity were on their attacks. couple of smoke canisters, and maybe everything goes a different way. But it was a good start for Nate on the round. NVK will now come to blows against Foxay inside a study. He's currently playing on the study hatch, and he's kind of locked himself in a corner here. A rock in a hard place, and he doesn't actually have a rotate out as his hatch is still sealed.
It is unfortunate for them. They also don't have the Maestro, who would be perfect to cover this doorway here, just spraying fire like you see right there, because he'd be able to do a lot more cover fire than you see. But the nice rotation angle here from Necrox is really going to pin things down. But at this point, I suppose he acts as bait. Missed shots from that. He's not there anymore.
The hatch will eviscerate, and he will fall directly through it down into Piano downstairs, and they'll hold the flank. Oh no, NVK not paying attention. Oh my! The whiff by Mark and the reaction by NVK gives him another tap just for good measure. Canadian tacking on, taking down Foxay on the reattempted rotation back into study.
Well, that extra goo mining definitely going to put a little bit extra hurt in NVK, but the fact that he's still alive, they maybe even have a little bit of time left to reset him if it comes to that, but I don't think they're going to bother. They're just going to push with all they have, use the utility, start to open up angles as they've done, and now Retro is going to be the key in stopping this, as you mentioned about previous rounds, along with 2 potential C4s here.
2 Toxic Babes remaining on Retro. He's already used 1, and these mute chambers really stalling out the intel gathering possibilities for Evil Geniuses. Laxing awaiting Canadian's entry in through this window, but all it takes is one person looking across the way from inside of the aviator door to establish a crossfire. And looking in through these Maverick holes now is Geo. It's a bad place to be right now if you're a Reciprocity defender trying to hold out inside the bar. Hibana charges coming out onto the wall. Sky's gonna press all the way up to the study door, thrown on the ground with a shotgun. There's only 10 seconds left, Sky's with 1 point-blank range, but it gets ripped right through by the SMG-12. They need to push right now, though. It's a bloodbath at the doorway. Canadian takes one down, Plank going down. It's all up to Retro, trying to go for the flight through study, but he's whiffing on the shots. Turns the corner with the shotgun. No! He gets the plant down. Retro with the 1v2 clutch. Pushing right away with the flank through study, and they'll equalize again. Reciprocity bring one back that they probably should not have had.
I got to imagine Retro checking his drawers at this point. You could see that sigh of relief as he just barely pulled that off. That should not have worked. A little bit of slow shotgun play there, ultimately costing a bit from Skies as well, as he should have been able to go for that second shot, just did not pull the trigger in time. That moment of hesitation, bringing the team to the brink of that round, but that does, as you mentioned, equalize things out. So that gives Reciprocity a little bit of breathing room to be able to try and take their way back here, but we only saw 3 and 3 come out from the first half. If we see a similar situation here, still not a good position to be in for Reciprocity because of losing that first map. It is interesting to see them not bringing the Maestro at all, though. It's something you get so much play out of. Yes, Dokkaebi was hacking the cameras a lot of the time, but I don't think that is a huge concern for EG, and it might not be much of one for you. So we'll see, though, if they could change things up this round. As we get into the next round, it's going to be interesting, as now we are going to see Capital in play and how much of an impact that might have.
The biggest problem, again, is that time control. There's 4 seconds left on the clock, and you're still not in the objective for Evil Geniuses. You got to be kicking yourself on that one. And like I said, that's been the story of Villa for this entire day, and honestly the entire week, is team's time control so far on Villa has just been a nightmare. There hasn't been really a lot of breaching opportunities because of the prevalence of impact tricking. It's just been so dominating lately. It's been so difficult to deal with too on Villa that there's never really any breaching opportunities unless you're just clearing out some footholds with some Hibana charges or you're bringing a Maverick.
And that, yeah, is part of the reason why you see Maverick played so often and banned as well, to give the defenders that advantage. There is the Hibana being brought, but obviously Thermite is not banned like he was on Banks, but teams just don't want to risk having to deal with it. As more often than not, teams now shotgun the floor up to try and help prevent that. I think there are still some edge case scenarios where you can kind of get around it, or if they don't shotgun it properly enough. But that's why you see that shotgunning at the top of the wall. For those of you new to the game, the impact tricking means they shotgun open the top of there for walls that don't go all the way up to the ceiling. If you throw an impact nade towards the top of that wall, when the Thermite charges attempt to go off, or X-Kairos that are high enough, it will destroy those due to the splash damage, and is something that has become a huge part of the strategy of this game, much akin to bandit tricking.
Foxay playing with fire once again as he almost rotates all the way into Master towards the bed in the middle of the room as Evil Geniuses were all collapsing around the balcony. And This time he'll think better of it and won't utilize an impact grenade to drop down a hatch to his immediate demise at the hands of Canadian, who is still downstairs clearing things out. And I imagine Canadian will eventually work his way over towards the astronomy stairs, where it appears that Laxing is currently playing as a Mute with a shotgun SMG loadout, the most popular loadout for Mute nowadays.
Well, we'll see if that has an impact. It did last round, but Canadian, the first kill there, again onto Mark. He's done a bit early. He's kind of taking up Canadian's mantle, and that is not Retro this time, which is definitely helpful, but he's not on the smoke. That's up to Skies this time, who was a little hesitant on the shotgun last time. So we'll hope Laxing can play a little bit of a better Mute. It's going to be tricky as already Evil Geniuses starting to pressure their way towards that site, and they've got some speed on their hands, as well as the ability to work their way through ADSs with Capital, and a flurry of kills coming up from EG, not going to make that any easier.
Even more drones coming out as Canadian will isolate and finish off Laxing. It's Foxay alone in a 1v5. Insurmountable task. NVK will shut it down, retaking the lead. Our Evil Geniuses 2 rounds away from the semifinals.
It is certainly looking like a strong possibility here. But at the same time, Reciprocity could bring this back. But you look at the kills on either side of the screen there, and you see a lot more potential from EG this moment, unfortunately, for Reciprocity. A lot of frustration come out from these guys, especially those who have been there before, who know it's possible, who know they could get there. And that chemistry on this team, the camaraderie, the mistakes in the way that they're correcting them, how they're working together as a team, I think they're going to be pretty disappointed in themselves. But at the same time, they did go down to the losers bracket and recovered from there. So they are hoping they could turn that into something. But you know what? They made it to the stage, and that is the most important thing here. So even if they go out now, they go out swinging against what is always the number 2 team here at these events, and that's no slow brag there. So we'll see if Trophy can be the site. Again, they're going to try it one more time because they cannot go back to Aviator. No one wants to go down to that bottom floor unless they absolutely have to. And the fact that no one can consistently win Trophy is making it that much easier, I suppose.
Trophies. Well, we're going to go to attack timeout for Rec as they take a little bit of time to talk it out in prep phase or operation pick phase. But they decide they need a little more time. And honestly, when your back's against the wall like this, there's a good possibility you're going down 6-4 based on the objective you've selected. I'd understand the inclination to go for attack timeout at exactly this point. And that's the thing is we haven't seen either of the downstairs bomb sites played at all throughout this game. We're entering round number 10. And it looks like as the tack timeout will expire, they will lock in Trophy and Statuary. So for the 10th consecutive round, we will either be Trophy or Aviator. No difference, and it seems like Aviator is the strong point, Trophy is the weak point, and it's whoever's gonna shake the trend and find a different defensive site to win with, or find the solution to Trophy that will most likely run away with Villa. Whether that's Evil Geniuses or Reciprocity, that will dictate whether or not we even need a third map.
I do wonder if the technical timeout was in any relation to the 6th pick coming out from Laxing in terms of giving that additional intel by getting those black eyes up and being able to sneak some of those in, something Canadian was doing a lot as we saw on his defenses. But again, I still got to wonder why no Maestro. I mean, yes, they have won a fair amount of defensive rounds, but I feel like a lot of firepower came out on EG in terms of that. They were able to do a lot with what you saw with NVK as well, just creating a lot of pressure for his team. Even when it didn't work, it was still somewhat effective in delaying. Laxing, though, going to be on the roam, something he's been very good at. This is an operator he is very, very strong on. So not a huge surprise, though, to see that come out, at least from him. Fox also, I got to imagine, going to be roaming on his op, something he's been doing plenty of. It is always interesting to see a roaming Legion, just because if you are not really good at surviving, you're not going to get maximum usage out of it. But he's actually proven he often will survive long enough to get the majority of those goo mines off. So certainly not something I question coming from him. Retro, again, not going to be in that smoke. That is going to be on the Skies. It is a lot of weight on his back to try and hold that out because Retro did unfortunately lose his life one round early just by peeking through a hole in the floor. But Laxing bringing those cameras here is of course going to be the worry that those get hacked from Necrox if they're able to find any of those early picks.
Devices going down.
Slower goings here for Evil Geniuses. No immediate pick in the first 30 seconds from Canadian, as I imagine he's a little more wary of his entry, and I imagine he's droned out Laxing downstairs in the basement, his favorite spot to make an entry on Villa. And EG slowly progressing from the west side east and on both floors simultaneously. And there's a heavy stacking of Evil Genius attackers downstairs currently, as they're very worried about any roamers trying to attempt to flank. You've got one Reciprocity defender in the kitchen, and you've got another one all the way downstairs, but Foxay is going to go for a jump out of the walk-in closet window and shut down Geo to start things off.
Well, they didn't have a lot of soft breach on here, but the ability to use a breach charge there to open up one of the castle barricades will benefit them a bit, as that will only leave 2 more castle barricades they could deal with otherwise. And of course, the Ash of Canadian could be all that they need to open those both up from a distance, or even using Hebon X Kairos if necessary. So they've got enough utility to make this work without delaying too much on time, but they've already burned 2 minutes, and they're the ones down a player here. So this could be another round comeback we see from Reciprocity if they can play that time smart. And if we see good C4, smoke, and goo mine usage to delay that further.
Sprays into that closet from NVK as he had previously droned out Skies in there. And oh, a flank from Canadian coming up the astronomy stairs. Knifes out the goo mine as he slowly makes his way up, and he'll take down Retro. Pre-fires into the rotate, but Foxay will drop Necrox and NVK on the flank. Skies with another one. It's all up to Young. Turning and twisting inside of the site. In the midst of smoke, he's got 2 on his main stairs. He falls into his demise, and Reciprocity will equalize once again. It's a 5-5 game on Villa. First to 2 will take the map.
You can see Skies just breathing out, just, whoo, we're so close here. And then Fox trying to cheer up his team, trying to make sure they could continue this. Yeah, they've got to pull out the Noah Rengo box face moves if they want to keep this going. Is this is going to need a lot of steam left when it seems like they can't ever really get a significant lead over EG. That's not a way to win a map. You really need to put some pressure on, because EG certainly showed that on Bank. So this is, I mean, you go into the last map, and that is a map EG certainly can win as well. So just making it to map 3 is certainly not a sigh of relief, and they're not even close to it at this point if they can't get some momentum.
It's a dead even split, 5-5, not only in the score, but the attacker versus defender win rate. And finally, after 10 rounds, we
Thank you,
get
Fox.
a new objective on a new horizontal plane. Kitchen and dining room will finally be selected in the 11th round, and a Maestro will also come out from Foxay. Some adaptations being made from Team Reciprocity, and it seems like it might be a little late, but they're still in this game. All they need to do is hold off for 2 rounds to force map 3, and it's an all-new ballgame.
Now, of course, I got to imagine the Maestro pick isn't because they're trying to do something different so much as it is part of their strat for this particular bomb site. But I got to wonder, though, if the decreased mobility of Fox will impact on their ability to get those flanks out, and they'll depend on some of the more mobile defenders here, in this case, possibly Laxing, to really put a lot of work in. Because, well, you're not going to be roaming around the map too heavily with Maestro. They do have a change-up at Coastline Castle, as well as Mark's going to be taking over that role from Retro, who's now back on smoke. Sky's again on mute as well, so shifting things up just a little bit, but also a little bit back to what they've been doing before in terms of operating lineup, with the exception of Fox. So hopefully for Reciprocity's sake, Laxing is going to be able to do some good flank work earlier in the round, something they were having trouble with on Bank, which is getting those early picks. They need to be getting maybe a bit more of that. We saw Fox especially getting some good ones last round.
2-man top hold currently for Reciprocity upstairs, and Canadian has made it all the way to the bottom of astronomy stairs. Looks like he's going to be facilitating a flank. He spots an ADS and the default camera, sees that it's not on and no one is watching. He wants to do this as silently as possible, and Necrox will take down Retro. Laxing still in behind the astronomy rotate. He's going to drop down the hatch and give chase to Canadian and meet him on the way down. Good catch there from Laxing to equalize in man count. It's a 4v4, and you're a good start there because you take down Retro again early. The smoke dispatched of versus the Ash. You're in a much better place if you're Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in, too, because you've got to maintain top floor control as well, something that doesn't have to be said for the top bomb sites in the sense of vertical play. Laxing finally gets punished, but it's after taking down 2.
Laxing firing across the way will take down Mark and give EG a slight man advantage, as Foxay was also coming upstairs in support. It's going to be an absolute war zone inside of Master across the way to Trophy, but he'll return to Tarps. and he'll join Skies inside of Dining Room, trying to lock down the objective. We have one Nitro Cell remaining, and obviously the Alda is going to be extremely lethal at all ranges with that extreme fire rate and magazine capacity. But this is a good look here for Evil Geniuses. You still have a minute remaining. You've completely cleared up the top floor. You've done all your displacing you could possibly do as far as breaking up some of the floorboards. You're out of soft destruction, so you need to convert for a site execute. A little bit more information coming out from Evil Geniuses, and they'll have plenty of time and plenty of utility to facilitate that. Young carrying the diffuser and Smokes in Nectaroc's hands. It looks like they want to push in through the dining closet.
Unfortunately, big thing working against them as well is there are cams, as you can see, available to be hacked through those phones left dormant. If he hasn't already doing so, that's going to make those Evil Eyes a little bit less effective. There is at least a C4 in Sky's hands. That's going to be potentially the game changer against that Smoke. But that's about it here to equalize things up. There is that C4 going out. Unfortunately, lands on no one. Now this is a big problem, but only 15 seconds left.
NVK going for the flank through tarps, and they're still being repelled at this immediate entrance. Holding the doors, Foxe, a good spot there. Necrox going one-on-one against Skies, but Foxe lights them all up, mows them all down, and Reciprocity put themselves on match point, staving off that elimination point. One round away from forcing map 3, Evil Geniuses, one round away from forcing overtime, at which point it'll be down to whoever picked which side to defend, because we don't have a coin flip.
Yeah, I believe, I think it will be going blue side, you know, the team starting attack over to defense first, as I believe that is what they picked. But good change-ups there, not only going to a bomb site that isn't the secondary and mostly failing one, but also the Maestro play. And you saw that factor in similar to the way it did for NVK in terms of mowing down the attackers when they feel like they have the man advantage and they're gonna have to push into you because just time left is so low. And I gotta say, he brought his own deployable shield and absolutely made work of it. So Fox smartly playing his own setup there at the very end when time was working against them. But also a great roam by Laxing. I was talking about a lot of work was going to be there on Laxing's shoulders on that roam because Fox wouldn't be roaming with him. And Laxing did not disappoint, picking up Canadian and then another one before getting killed, and now also buying their team a lot of time. Now, of course, they can go back up to Aviator, so they're going to do so. And if they can manage to pull this off, then of course, we go to map 3. If not, then we go to overtime, and then we'll see if Reciprocity continuing their streak on defense first will matter or not. But Necrox is bringing out the first wildcard for their team now that we saw the wildcard come out from Fox with Maestro. Necrox is going to surprise with the Candelas and see if that makes a huge impact here or not. As there still is ADSs in play, at least from Mark.
It's a terrifying prospect that if you're an Evil Geniuses fan, the early domination you had on map number 1 could all be for naught, as Reciprocity are less than 3 minutes away from possibly sending this to a map 3 immediately. Although, on the Evil Geniuses side, you do have Necrox pulling out the Ying, like you said, a big surprise. Geo swapping over to the Sledge as well for some frag grenades, as long as they can burn out using NVK's EMPs. Dispatch of those ADSs inside of the objective and start launching out those frag grenades and displacing those anchors, making sure that they're stuck and locked down in easy to pick off positions. They'll have a very good time executing on the site. But once again, there's nuke jammers all over the place, stopping out the progression of drones and gathering of intel, and I'm waiting to see if Young will actually be able to breach open any wall inside of Aviator or Games Room this time.
Or at least they're droning out enough to make sure that those EMPs are going to make sure to take out at least mute jammers, as there's no bandit or anything, of course, to stop those walls from being opened in that sense. He's going to throw down his second one now that they've determined that that is clear. And we are probably not going to have Canadian doing a lot of flashing in with his flashbangs to clear out those ADSs, as he very often doesn't make it towards that side execute. He's going to be playing off on his own, which unfortunately more often than not on Villa especially does not work super great. But there is going to be clearing out instead coming from Young. He's going to be burning as much of the ADSs as possible. Necrox, though, going to have to make sure to use those Candles when it matters, but they do not have any smokes to go along with them, so they're going to have to hope they blind as many people as possible in the room, because no smoke is going to be available to actually cover the plant, so they need to storm in alongside those, get some frags with them, and one frag grenade left in Gio's hand will help with that.
Clear.
First frag grenade went soaring beyond the bar. An impact tricking coming out. A few more pellets will detonate on the wall, but it won't be enough to crouch through. And now Young will expend his last round of X-Kairos. You'll get impact tricked away immediately. So Unable to crouch through this hole, they will again be forced to push through doorways with 45 seconds left as the first toxic bait comes out. Canadian holding flank for Laxing on the back. Candelas come out, but Laxing laying in wait. Skies as well will grab one of his own onto neck rocks. There goes the Ying after only one Candela. This does not look good for Evil Geniuses with only 30 seconds remaining.
Well, there goes Gio as well, falling to Laxing, doing a fantastic job on his flank. Young and NVK, though, are both clutch masters, but getting traded off there. Now NVK only left, he gets a second.
That's 2 for him. He'll need the 1v5 ace clutch in mere seconds if EG are going to keep themselves alive on Villa. Well, we're going to map 3, right up against the wall, whipping out the pistol in a crossfire now from the opposite side of the bar. 4 seconds left, and ladies and gentlemen, we are going to map 3 between Reciprocity and Evil Geniuses. Crazy back and forth game between Rec and EG on Villa ends up with Reciprocity winning map 2, 7-5.
Definitely looked like it was going to be a hard comeback, to be honest. I mean, even though it was their map, even though they started off strong, as that started to slip away, as EG were able to take back those 3 rounds on their defense, just didn't seem like we were going to see Reciprocity able to muster enough confidence to do it. But I just feel like we started to see that change after some really close calls coming out in their favor on some of those defenses. Just seemed like they finally started to get just enough confidence to pull it ahead. But it also was down to some really good plays coming out from Laxing that we didn't see from them on attack. I feel like Laxing's strength absolutely seems to be on defense and his ability to roam on that. We saw that especially the last few rounds. His ability to just pull off some of those kills. Fortunately, a lot of that, I hate to say it wasn't on Retro's side on all those defenses, but Fox still pulling his own weight as well. Again, we see Fox and Laxing on defense, Fox and Skies on attack, and that seems to work pretty consistently. That's something EG are gonna have to consider going into this third map and what they can do to shut down at least half of that duo as early as possible.
Well, Bank was a absolute crapshoot for Reciprocity, but they bring it back on Villa. Milos, Zoronic, and Dev Marta, let us know what you guys have thought about the first 2 maps and what you think we'll be seeing on Coastline, map number 3.
Thank you very much, Flynn, and I hope you're ready for it. We're going to drop some knowledge bombs on you here. Gentlemen, welcome back to the desk. It's a pretty explosive series. Now, to basically put everything into perspective, 7-2 victory for Bank for EG. No problems whatsoever. Even with unorthodox strategies, dropping a Monty through a hatch down into CCTV does not matter. The Geniuses take it home.
Let's be fair and say they got absolutely destroyed on Bank.
Reciprocity.
Yeah, that was rough to watch. They struggled through the whole thing. We expected EG to win Bank, without a doubt, but maybe not that convincingly.
Yeah, but then Dev, we go to Villa. The bans are still the same for EG. They go for the Jackal, they go for the Echo. And we thought that Jackal ban would affect Reciprocity, as we've been known to seeing Fox playing the Jackal, especially on Villa, quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, going into the attacking side, I don't think that it did have as much of an effect. The comeback more so was on the defense, and I think that honestly, it seemed like a little bit of a lack of teeth from EG on their attacks. And I mean, yes, we are in a very familiar defensive-sided meta, and that was just reinforced by the fact that we had a bit of a landslide nearer to the end of the game. Some incredible performances. Fox on the defense, switching over to the Maestro on those downstairs defenses, a 4K to send it to match point. And then that last round was barely a contest from Evil Geniuses either. We were talking earlier, we were pretty confident that Bank was going to be an open and shut case for Evil Geniuses. Moving into map 2, Reciprocity had a chance. They've proved that they had more than a chance, and now they've pushed it on to map number 3. I feel honestly like it's still anyone's game.
At least we've seen Reciprocity stay composed through the whole thing after getting destroyed so heavily in Bank, going into to then win Villa, although very, very close. If we look at Coastline, it's still on paper very favored to EG. They haven't lost it yet, the last 3 months at least, 5 wins.
We can actually take a look at those statistics. We'll bring it up here on the board, specifically for Coastline. Again, our 3rd map in this best of 3 series. And guess what? 4 bans, 5 wins. And not too shabby on Reciprocity either. They do not shy away from Coastline, as you can tell, with those 3 wins, a draw, and a loss. Sure, EG definitely have the advantage in it, but Reciprocity definitely can bring the heat. And we said the same thing about Villa.
100%. We expected that was where Reciprocity was gonna, make a comeback or have a chance of actually still being in the game.
Yeah.
I still think going to the third map, unless this is such a power boost and confidence boost for them, going into Coastline, it's gonna be EG's game to throw.
Now looking at Coastline for you, Dev, you look at things, first of all, with the operator bans. EG, would they go for the same Echo and Jackal ban, or were they going to be more focused on?
We've seen a decent amount of Jackal bans on Coastline, and in particular Echo, I think it's fairly standard. Intel gathering, of course, being so essential. But I mean, aside from the operator bans, the map itself, we know Evil Geniuses are pretty good on it, but we know Reciprocity have a decent shot as well. And I wouldn't count out Reciprocity yet, honestly. Coming into this one, the difference between our previous map, where on map number 1, Evil Geniuses, it's such a spread out map. They took control, and when it came to these roam clears, the Dokkaebi was working incredibly effectively. But on Villa, more like it, when we had these close contests, angle fights, we saw the stat brought up halfway through the match. Reciprocity, despite being down, they were actually winning most of the entries, most of the 1v1s. And we saw that was eventually what let them take it. They were winning the 1v1s and winning the trades. And I think that Coastline will also favor that style of play. So while I'm still on the fence and maybe tilting a little bit more towards EG, I don't think Reciprocity will lay down and take it.
No, it's probably not going to be the same we saw in Bang. I'll agree on that. But I do think it favors EG. If another worthy mention is that we've seen in BK.
Oh, the king is back, baby.
The king is back, exactly. So if he shows up as well as he did on Villa, we need to see more out of Laxing on his roams then.
Let me talk about a specific site on Coastline. This is one of the most flexible maps in the pool so far in Pro League, but there's one site that has kind of changed up from being the #1 to the least played, Penthouse. And for a lot of teams, it just depends on Mira ban or not. How do you see this from your angle?
Honestly, I think we were wrong in the start when everyone assumed that was one of the better sites. I think time has proven that it's, even with Mira there, it doesn't take much to remove that. Often you need to get lobby control anyway. If you have lobby control, the Mira windows are already gone. If you do a stair push instead of a VIP push, well, then the Mira windows become yours instead. So that bomb site just doesn't leave as many things open. One thing we actually saw the stream do, if we go all the way back to a team that isn't with us anymore in this tournament, they played it all the way from pool, which was very interesting with VIP wall open, and we saw that to great success from them, at least in the European Pro League.
We also saw a huge shift in the meta from, instead of hunkering down inside of theater to control Penthouse, it was actually opening up a rotation between Penthouse and the VIP itself. Playing in VIP, we've seen a lot of Doc play, a lot of Jaeger play in that area, and contesting those angles onto the balcony. I mean, particularly in my own region, ANZ, it's something that has been largely successful, and I've seen this time and time again. Trying to experiment with new ways to hold that bomb site has bared some fruit, but honestly, I think that the expansion onto the other bomb sites is the thing that's been most beneficial to the defense on Coastline.
Here's where I want to add to your point, Clash. You've seen a lot of crowd control coming out. The Clash has been important. We saw Penta on Border using it, but quite a few teams as well have employed her on Coastline as well.
Yeah, and actually on Penthouse especially, it's a good point to bring up Clash, because there's a rule that you can't really play behind bed, or at least if you do, you're guaranteed that you're going to die if they want you out of there. There's no out, there's no way for you to get away. If you play Clash there, it's really difficult to remove her. Even with Sophia charges, you're still covered by the bed or like the half wall. So you have an opportunity of like sticking around in there and just being one giant annoying drone.
I'm a little bit on the fence about the Clash, though. On Coastline, just the number of angles from an exterior positions that you can generate, whether it's from the roof, you can look into VIP or Nirai. You can look from the outside balcony, from the double window, from VIP balcony, and it just means that your Clash player has to be very, very careful where they're facing and where their back is exposed to.
All right, well, with those knowledge bombs dropped, gentlemen, it's time to see where this goes. Flynn, I hope this satisfies your curiosity. Take us home and let's see how this one's going to end up. Coastline is coming up. Evil Geniuses versus Reciprocity. When we'll go to the semis, all yours.
Thank you very much, Milos. Those were some great knowledge bombs. I'm very well informed now. Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't have ADSs enough to catch all of those, but definitely going to be a lot of thoughts going into this because, of course, this is the final match of the day and going to be the final map for one of these two teams. So it's definitely backs against the wall for both of them, because EG going out this early would be a big, big blow, I imagine, to them. And Canadian doesn't want to think about being on the analyst desk anymore for the rest of his life, and that would certainly not be a good look for him to continue to do that. So it's all down to Reciprocity to make it work, and this is a team that will continually take matches to overtime when they're back against the wall, and I feel like sometimes that might translate to map number 3 just the same.
Evil Geniuses, Team Reciprocity, one map to decide it all. Either you go to the semis to play G2, the reigning world champions, major champions, and seasonal champions.
Not much of a reward, I have to say.
Or you join us in the bleachers and have a pretty mediocre time watching the rest of the event, sad that you didn't make it.
Well, either way, one team's gonna have to do that. There is no drawing this like there is in Pro League. Stu or die, Dokkaebi gonna be taken out of play despite all the play we saw from it on last map. Glaz also banned again here. That is going to, again, prevent us from having to see Canadian playing on that, which is just not been a pretty sight. Similar bans again, though, coming out here from Reciprocity. Let's see if the Echo ban, once again, will continue to shut things down. But the Maestro, once again, still available.
EG swapping up the ban from the Jackal that they've banned in consecutive maps, like the analyst desk talked about. Now they've swapped it over to a Dokkaebi, and there already isn't a whole lot of roaming potential on Coastline as far as rotations are concerned. You can hold up in a room off-site for as long as possible and maybe have one rotation down a staircase if you're lucky. But the Jackal coming out from Necrox immediately should help dispel any semblance of a roam game coming out on Coastline in its entirety.
Interesting to see, though, that we're going to go to Bar for the first bomb site. Laxing with the 6th pick there. That makes a lot of sense. Especially given the bomb site, you don't need a ton of bandit there. But the Jackal finally available, and Necrox going to be playing on it. I imagine once we see the side switch, we will also see Fox on the Jackal quite a bit. So that is something that will finally change up a little bit from the previous 2 matches in the sense that roam play will be different. Not to mention, this is a difficult map to roam on. Something I was mentioning earlier in the Empire Liquid match is how difficult that could be. Put Jackal in the mix, even more difficult, although at least in this case, Dokkaebi is taken out of play, so you will not be pressured by the phone calls and the Jackal tracking, and of course, Lion's still sitting in quarantine until his revamp is done, so that's gonna help things out just a smidge, but also work back the other way, so it's gonna be unlocking to play very smart in how he makes those rotations along with Fox and their good communication onto where those players will actually be, or hey, why not just get some early picks on Necrox, then you don't have to worry about his tracks anymore. Canadian actually gonna be playing on Sledge rather than trying to run his Ash train this time.
Well, like you said, the second quarterfinal of the day. First map was Coastline between Liquid and Empire, and it was Liquid who went in to the first half up 5-1 after attacking first shades of the old Coastline.
As you can see from that fact there, we do expect this to be a bit of a close game because these guys absolutely know how to play this map. You saw in the stats as well. This is a good map for both teams, and I think a very fitting decider between them as both teams won their maps. But I gotta say, a bit more decidedly so for EG on Bank. I do share a little bit of Denmark's enthusiasm, but also a bit of Zyronic skepticism in Team Reciprocity to close this out, just because, well, historically, EG managed to get into the finals pretty often.
There is one team that has been EG's kryptonite on Coastline, though. And it's a little further back, so it doesn't show up in the stats that were presented on the analyst desk, but it was the team now known as Rise Nation, who currently occupy the last place slot in North American Pro League. In Season 8, they drew against them once on Coastline and straight up lost to them 6-2 back on the old format. I wonder if Reciprocity has gone back to the olden days and maybe flipped through some of those VODs anticipating a Coastline game. Maybe I'm just big-braining this a little too hard.
You never know, could be shades that'll play. Necrox actually is barely getting with that, but Canadian with a grenade kill immediately traded off. Gotta say also, we loved that Claymore laser show they got going on the White Stairs.
An immediate trade, you lose your Sledge for your castle, and if you're the defensive Reciprocity, you're probably a little happier about that because your castle barricades are already up. You don't have to worry about that. And the Sledge, the most immediate utility to dispel those castle barricades, has now been removed from play.
Well, at least he did manage to get one of his grenades off and land a kill with it. But yeah, Necroc's now on low health. Definitely will not help things out either, as he's also the lone smoke on the team, something that may or may not need for the actual plant. But Canadian dying early is definitely not something this team should be stranger to it all, so I imagine they'll carry on without him just fine. But Necrox, despite maybe having a little bit of time earlier to go for reset, definitely has no time now, and Fox is going to play on that despite him being continuously jackal-tracked by Necrox, as Necrox now down and out for the round.
Such an incredibly ill-advised rotation timing for Foxay, and yet it still works out for him as NVK has him pinned down in office, but there's no time remaining. Everyone from EG are going to have to send it in all at once through the toxic cloud of smoke, and Young will claim the life of Skies. No more toxic babes coming out, and Geo takes down another one onto Mark. A third now for EG. Putting the plant down is Young as it's all up to Laxing now in the 1v3 retake, lighting up the feet and finally finishing off NVK inside of Cubby. Geo and Young left alive. Pings coming out inside the bars, but they evacuate to the safety of the indestructible ceiling. A drone on Laxing will also call out that he is topside, and will go for a rotate back down Cool Vibes for the second time in 10 seconds. In behind the bar, dancing back and forth, hearing another drone revealing his location concurrently. And one man outside the window, Nitrocell, perfect position. Oh, he gets shot out of midair. And Laxing trying to push onto the Sunrise entrance. Young will cut him down from behind. It's a last second saving grace round for Evil Geniuses, but again, they take the lead.
I do feel like had that been a 1v1, I think we might have been able to see Laxing pull that off. But there's only so many clutches in his poor little body that he can pull through, and that is definitely not going to be one of them just due to the missed the C4. I mean, getting shot is definitely going to be a bit of a runner, because I do feel like had they not shot that, I actually might have been able to get the kill from there, depending on how it landed. A decent round, though, for Canadian, at least finding the one kill, and overall, the advantage to stick the defuse was the key there. Had they not been able to get that defuse down, had it been delayed any longer, well, of course, they just would have lost the round on time at that point, because there was still players managing to move around, and Laxing able to play as best as he was, but just did not have the angle to completely stop that diffuser. He did have a C4, but just didn't know exactly where to be able to throw that down at or be able to get the right angle at the right time. And that's out of communication. We will see Retro actually take up the mantle of Maestro this time. That should be interesting for this hookah defense.
Almost identical roster coming out from Evil Geniuses as far as operators are concerned. A little bit of a swap up, like you said. The Maestro coming out for Retro. Sky's still playing Smoke, and that's a little peculiar considering his fragging ability with other weapons on the defensive side. But it's also Coastline, so his ability to maneuver the map and take advantage of his great game IQ won't necessarily be there on a map like Coastline.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to make a huge difference, but I wouldn't say he's been hugely impactful as Smoke. At least he wasn't on Villa, so it's something that it seems like he's kind of being slotted into a role more so than it being a natural fit for him from what we've seen so far. And I don't want to judge him based off of just him plus an operator equals whatever, but Villa definitely was not a great showing for his Smoke play. Although I wouldn't say it was a great showing for Retro Smoke play either, as he definitely came in some early deaths that were definitely making it easier for EG to push earlier than I imagine Reciprocity would have liked. But Fox and Laxing have definitely found operators they are very comfortable with, and they are almost always at least one of them alive till the end of the round. So that is working out most of the time, and almost worked out last round as well.
Well, a hookah billiards defense coming out for Team Reciprocity as they try to draw even in the early game here on Coastline. Like I talked about, that Liquid and Empire game was a 5-1. Oh no, here comes the run out from Fox out the office door. Necrox removed from play exceedingly early on for free by Foxay. As I was saying, though, the attacking side seemed to be really dominant earlier today, and I'm wondering if that will trend the same for Evil Geniuses, or if Reciprocity has an answer like that, which is stepping up the intensity and the aggressiveness.
I gotta imagine this will be a bit more balanced between these two teams. But I do like to see things like Fox punishing the person tracking him continuously last round by just shutting him down very, very early, and that's gonna make his roam flexibility that much more on point along with Laxing's. But again, they need to be getting frags early on, not just going back for site retakes, but Fox already got his frag. Now it's Laxing's turn. If they could both find a frag each, I think the site defenders have a good chance in the 3v3, especially as EG hasn't always been best on time management. If they lose an attacking player early, especially then it being a tracker. And there's Laxing. All right.
Stay back.
Just notching him up. good for Reciprocity. NVK next to fall.
That's a bad engagement for NVK, and Laxing wins that one out on a Canadian as well.
Take a turn.
Fragging firepower coming out for Reciprocity in full force now. Young left alone inside of Aquarium in a 1v5, and it'd probably be the most spectacular ace we've seen all week, should Young be able to do it, but he's going to drop down into the courtyard in the purview of an Evil Eye, get zapped in the backside as he comes over, and he'll get shredded from multiple angles. Laxing will close it out, and Reciprocity draw even at a 1-1 score.
I feel like had there been 6 players on EG, we would have seen 3 each from Fox and Laxing, but as there's only 5, someone had to take last kill with a Lax kill, I suppose is appropriate as well. Nicely done, though, by Laxing, and that was exactly what I was talking about. Them needing to get those picks on those roams, and that's exactly what they did, and guess what? It was just a shutout round against EG. But it all started with that run out right there from Fox. Fantastically played, great use of an impact nade to do some damage, and then Laxing there, we got to see how he got that kill. So overall, just a lot of shutdowns. They really made the map their own. They are roaming at a capacity we just did not see at all in that match earlier with Liquid and Empire.
Just an incredibly unfortunate set of engagements for Evil Geniuses in that round. Looked like very winnable gunfights, and yet all falling apart and all falling towards the side of Team Reciprocity. So they will go back to Sunrise Bar and Blue Bar after being successful top side directly above this objective. And they'll look to have a better run at it this time around, hopefully not allowing just a wave of EG attackers to push in from a myriad of different angles, including the Sunrise entrance and Skies being caught off guard all the way over by the typical window you utilize to peek a ruin spawn.
Well, we will see one change up in this defense this time as Fox will be bringing that pulse, but we'll also see the Ying coming out from Young. So he is 1 letter away from it. It all makes sense, right? You go from an I to a U. It's an IOU. Either way, it is going to be an interesting round because Fox is going to be playing most likely a bit of a roaming pulse. He does not like to play a very static pulse. He will often be very far off site and use the pulse to help himself identify where players are at, call those out to his teammate, play very flexible, and hope to not get caught off guard because of his ability to see those parts through walls. So it will be hopefully something that works out a bit better for him. But again, Necrox being on that Jackal could mean he's tracked that entire time, and he's got to use his heartbeat sensor then just to try and keep himself from getting pressed on. But we'll, of course, see Laxing still continuing on what has been working so well for him. And Skies, well, I guess he didn't really need to be that smoke last round, as Laxing and Fox did basically everything, just due to great plays on their side. So Young is going to have to get those Candles close to the site. I gotta wonder though, is he gonna be going for the Russian plant? You have the Ying player carrying the diffuser, unless he's gonna swap that up. That speaks of kind of a rush play. They do have the smokes, at least of Necrox, that could go out with it, along with possibly some grenades and lifeline stuns, but this could be a bit risky. Looks like he does drop it though, potentially for teammates to pick up. There we go, that's Necrox gonna be going for that smoke plant once again. And we saw how some of these X-Kins went down for smoke plants earlier in the matches when it was very heavy on smokes, and a lot of times Buck play as well to open that wall. They do have at least the ITA to sort of do something similar, but it is not a big vault hole.
Well, I completely missed the fact that Young was bringing the 612.
All right.
Doing his best hungry impression. Flash of Babe from Skies will slow things down. It looked like everything for EG was about to ramp up through this Sunrise entrance doorway and breaking out the barbed wire. Looks like some more toxic gas will be prepared in wait for the entry, and one man droning for Evil Geniuses in behind the Lambo front desk, and it looks like Fox A is in a perfect position to flank, although a flank drone catching him off guard and twisting back away out of the purview of NVK, and finally NVK will win it out against Fox A this time as compared to last round when it should have been an easy lockout. Less than a minute remaining. Here come the Candles soaring in, but they're not going to blind Laxing. They only use one Candela, and there's an ADS inside of Cubby waiting for those to be launched in. Same with one behind the bar, but Canadian on a flank through Office will grab one onto Mark, trying to grab the second onto Laxing. They trade blows and neither able to find the lethal blow. Oh, what a 360 from Skies! Laxing tacks on with Necrox and a second one on Canadian. Suddenly down to a 2v3, pushing down the kitchen hallway and inside of kitchen. NVK and Geo taking a lot of damage, point blank range. NVK will rip through Laxing, but an immediate trade by Skies. Suddenly down to Geo in a 1v2, ripped apart by the UMP of Retro. Good response round there from Reciprocity as it all looked chaotic and doomsday for Rec early on in the round.
One thing I like there, see that reinforcement to his left, that is something that we were talking about, the buck play that we saw, for example, from previous rounds here on Coastline, is every time it was always about opening that up so you could pressure onto the bar faster. You didn't have to come spinning around that doorway. You could just fly through an open hole right up onto the bar, get up in there quickly and aggress on it. But because that wasn't there, the shotgun play at the bar was so much more effective. You saw when he stood up, took down the diffuser quickly. But Laxing's plays from Blue Bar, the fact that he was able to put his head on a swivel, find Canadian behind him, take the shots to suppress him off, absolutely paid off because of that just good game sense and call-outs. He was able to stay alive a lot longer and just be so much more impactful. And another lead here by Reciprocity is impressive on this map so far.
Going back and forth, and this is definitely atypical to what we were seeing earlier today in the Empire Liquid game that we've mentioned a couple times. Laxing already with 7 kills through 3 rounds, certainly leading the charge and having a much better bounce back game compared to Villa. Reciprocity, like you said, up a round right now, and they've begun to cycle out the defensive locations. This won't be like Villa, where we play the same 2 defensive sites over and over and over again. We will get a tertiary site thrown into the mix, and it'll be Penthouse Theater without a mirror, which is a little interesting considering Kitchen is still available.
Yeah, I definitely find it interesting in light of the debate at the analyst desk about Penthouse and why it has fallen out of favor, and the different options you have to play. We don't see a ton of those super creative angles being employed just yet. We may see them later. But at the same time, they have some good utility, and the Fox, of course, on that pulse could late rotate around for a C4 kill on the diffuse planter should he catch him off guard. They definitely know they have a pulse now, if they didn't know before, as he is spotted out. And again, Jackal tracked. Not going to get an early kill onto Necrox just yet, as Necrox is playing it a bit more careful this time. At least managing to get some footprints in the meantime. But this doorway almost just got him killed right there, and some return fire coming back. As we saw before, that doorway can be a bit of a death trap when you're just trying to get that camera.
Looks like Retro wants to peek this and bring the aggression. They're going to drone out Laxing. It looks like Necrox might take this angle without being aware that Retro, they're all both going prone. On the other side of a face is the only thing interrupting their purview from each other. They're holding the prone angle, and Retro will back off momentarily. 1 bullet will narrowly soar past Retro on the backside, and a jump out from Foxay will take down Necrox. Good information play there, and a good flank. Necrox having a bad run on the Jackal so far. Can't seem to make it past that minute mark.
I tell you what, I would not want to track that Fox, because he will definitely come back biting every single time. It is something that it seems to just punish Necrox when he does it. So they might want to consider a different approach. Dokkaebi being off the board here means they just have to find a different way to deal with the roam play, because like I said, roam play should be difficult on this map, but it does not seem to be the case for Fox and Laxing at all.
Well, this has got to get a little nerve-wracking out there for an Evil Genius fan. It's got to feel pretty good if you're a Reciprocity fan. The stalling out here for Evil Geniuses, and another attempted run out from Foxay. He's getting ballsy with it, and he's going to back off and lock things down for now. Sky's doing a lot of damage and will finally fall at the hands of Geo and his L85 pushing through the theater hallway. Pulls up the drone in the middle of the hallway. Again, a very courageous decision, and it'll work out. They'll spot out Mark. Ooh, Retro just missing the silhouette and the outline of Young outside. 2 rotates coming from Reciprocity up the stairs. Nitro Cell above won't connect. Take a little bit of health off of NVK, but it won't be the end of the world.
It'll certainly scare him off of it, which forces him back a little bit more towards the hallway, giving Retro a bit of a chance. The plant coming down from Young as Retro finds one and gets traded.
Trades back and forth. It's 2v3s. Young's putting down the plant, and it gets interrupted at the last possible second. Canadian in a 1v3 to try and hold out. Immediate contestant will be stunned out as Foxay peeking back and forth. Mag dumping at an empty wall. Canadian cannot win the gunfight. Foxay wins it out with his horrendous UMP loadout. However, successful he was with it, and Reciprocity extend the lead.
Looks like Skies are calling for a little bit of support from the crowd, because the momentum coming out of the last map and losing the first round here, they still bring back 3. So I do think if there are Reciprocity fans out there, they've got a lot of work cut out ahead for them. So make sure to show them your support, as this is going to be a tough fight, and I expect some rounds to come back for EG. So far, it's looking like they've made this their map. I got to wonder, though, when we see side switch, I do think we'll see a bit of a comeback from EG, even if this continues to slide Reciprocity's way, mostly because a lot of this is coming out of just really good roam play.
talked about it pregame. That shouldn't be happening on a map like Coastline. You've also got Necrox currently 0-4, and he also hasn't made it very deep into the rounds, unfortunately, as his role as the Jackal. He's losing the smokes very early on. Most often, he's the only operator on the team with smoke. So that completely changes your site execute if EG were to ever get to that point. Second of all, the fragging power and to be able to lock down someone like Foxay. Like you said a couple times now, Foxay will get tracked once by Necrox, and Foxay will in turn go hunt Necrox instead of the other way around.
The funny part is Necrox is more often than not dying outside the building. So it's not like Necrox is putting himself in harm's way. He just really needs to be somewhere where there is no run out. Because once he gets that ping going, Fox knows the only way to stop the pinging on him is to kill the man pinging him, and that's what he'll do, just hunt him right back down. It is very appropriate that it has happened multiple times now, and it just goes to show you, you don't have to be a brave Jackal to get killed when you have someone like Fox able to just jump out the building. And unlike on Bank, he's not a doc jumping out and having to run his way back through sewers.
Well, Evil Geniuses now on their back foot after setting the tone very early with a dominating win on Bank on map number 1. A very close contest on map number 2 on Villa. They now find themselves in a 2-round deficit. This is a problem for Evil Geniuses. They're running out of rounds they can realistically use as buffers before it comes down to crunch time, and it's elimination point for a consecutive number of rounds. You've only got 4 left until Reciprocity punch their ticket to face G2 in the semifinals.
Nice early kill there on Alaxi. That's really going to shut down some of that roam potential. So Necrox finally breaking the curse just a little bit, but he lost about half his health in the process. And there we go. The curse being broken. Fox is dead as well. This round, in that sense, all but won by EG.
Absolutely, and it's because they're playing off the aggression. Team Reciprocity getting way over ambitious with their peaks. No one from Evil Geniuses is inside the building, and yet they have 2 kills. So Reciprocity playing off that momentum, trying to take a little bit of aggression, but taking it way too far and being stung because of it.
Well, either way, though, at least they still have managed to burn a minute and a half, but EG have shown they're no stranger to pushing at the last 20 seconds, especially with a 5-man to 3-man advantage. This is definitely going to be tough, and this is where Retro, playing on all this, I think going to have to be a big factor, but no, he is downed and going to need to be picked back up. They're going to potentially have to even use some smoke coverage just to keep him from getting pressed on.
Geo still repelled out on the big windows. There's no pressure coming from Hookah as everyone is a little preoccupied with facilitating the revive on Retro. And Mark up through the hatch will get dispatched of by Canadian down below. Quickly a 3-man advantage now for Evil Geniuses as they collapse from all directions onto the last 2 remaining defenders, Retro and Skies. Retro looking to peek out with the Alda. Troy baiting it out as he walks all the way back into Sunrise. Skies left alone on the objective as Retro goes hunting for Canadian downstairs, and he's able to find him downstairs in the Sunrise bar, but he takes even more damage in the process. Skies sending the smoke through the wall, but Retro will fall on Cool Vibe stairs, leaving Skies alone, and MVK with a nice 2-piece to wrap it up, and Evil Geniuses respond in turn.
Well, it just came down to successfully hunting the roamers that time and keeping Necrox alive. Certainly worked out much better. Like you said, turning the aggression against them was the key. So now Reciprocity going to have to tone it back just a bit, but I gotta imagine then that just means we'll see more of it mid-round when time is a little bit lower and they can play it a little bit more to their advantage. Unfortunately, also a lot of great angle play. Canadian getting to live for a while, along with Necrox, definitely working out for them. But also, like you said, Retro hunting that kill probably wasn't the best play in terms of leaving his teammate all by himself on the site. Not to mention then when he did get killed, Skies was not in a position then to trade it, and Retro was already low on health after having to get revived by Skies. So just not the smartest play in that case, despite it leading to a kill. We'll see another Hookah attempt here. We'll see if they can pull it off this time. So far, still a little bit of a lead here by Reciprocity. They just have to make sure to hold on to it. And we'll see Fox going back a bit more to his old ways in terms of playing on Fusion.
Well, the last round of the first half, and we could be seeing a mirror here of Villa, which was a 3-3 draw at the half. And then Team Reciprocity narrowly edged out Evil Geniuses. Or this could look more like Bank in terms of a wider margin of a split at the half. It was a 5-1 split in favor of Evil Geniuses at the half on Bank, and the maximum could be 4-2 here for Reciprocity. For Evil Geniuses, you feel confident about turning the aggression around on Reciprocity, but you also need to understand that Reciprocity are probably not going to be stupid enough to do it twice in a row.
Yeah, you gotta imagine that's gotta be the case here, especially with Fox changing up roles now. I mean, Laxing also gonna be playing it a little bit back more. He's usually the one to stay alive for as long as possible on that role and uses his cameras to help with that. So I gotta imagine that's gonna be the case again. Like we said before, Skies hasn't been a huge impact on the smoke. His job is more to just stay restrained, not do what Fox and Lax are doing, not just get themselves killed early and just continue to hold the site as long as possible, continue to delay. Retro, though, going to have to play a little bit smarter this time as well, try and hold them back. Also, Necrox is going to be continuing to play that Jackal role for what is the last round they have on attack. So if he can get a second successful round with it, that will definitely be good for him, despite that still being numbers against him. And we're going to see Geo this time on Ashe, interestingly enough.
Well, like you said, the flaws in Skies' anchor play on smoke, we haven't really seen a lot of them up until that last round there, where he looked like he was lost. He wasn't really sure where he was going or what he was doing. Obviously, a 1v4, not the easiest situation to be in. However, we've seen other clutches, and there's just more of an idea of what to do and take a direction and segment off 1v1s. But those problems don't get exposed until Reciprocity makes a mistake as lethal as the one they did last round, where everyone's jumping out of windows or running out on balconies, and it leaves them alone in a seriously compromised position. When Reciprocity play their normal game, Skies might not be the best smoke in the world, but he suffices quite well considering the aggression and the amount of conversion on kills that the roamers get for Reciprocity.
I would like to see Mark pick it up a little bit on kills because we know we're capable, but unfortunately, there we go. That is a not beneficial position change right into a drone. Geo, though, not going to actually over-aggress on it. Just looking for the right timing, possibly calling it up for teammates to execute on it as well. Make it more of a pinch scenario, as NVK is also hunting downstairs here, looking for any opportunities he can to get some out. He hasn't deployed that Claymore yet to cover his flank either, which could be a problem as there are still 2 of the roamers left. You might need that earlier than later, especially as Mark does exactly what I asked, which just shows us what he's capable of on that 416.
Aquarium push coming out, and inside the blue bar, MVK will trade out Fox, who was hunting over inside of Sunrise, and Skies will now be felt inside the objective. Canadian taking down Mark as well. It's going to have to be a retake. Laxing on the way back, shredded to pieces. Retro last alive, able to take down NVK, pushing up Cool Vibe stairs, but now he's had to evacuate his strong position on the Cool Vibe stairs. The ping's coming out, but the diffuser will get set by Evil Geniuses. A 1v3, full HP Maestro for Retro. 42 bullets in the mag remaining, and time ever present, ticking away as he slowly pushes his way up the Cool Vibe stairs. Good hold for Necrox, currently sitting basically on the diffuser, one all the way outside by Ruins currently right now, and one on the Aquarium balcony. Great separation and coverage right now for Evil Geniuses. Retro on the pre-fires, he's gonna magged up, and Necrox will still win it out. Evil Geniuses equalize at the half. And now they'll head to the defense. Equal game, 3-3. It all comes down to the next 6 rounds in regulation, unless we go overtime, at which point it'll be Evil Geniuses starting on the defense.
Well, at least last map when we saw it go to the 3-3, it did manage to work out. Somewhat beneficial there, but at the same time, this is definitely a map where EG could bring it home very easily by that extra 1 point. You saw the stats earlier about how close it had been previously. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go all the way to at least the 12 rounds, if not 15, because I can't imagine either team giving up a significant lead. But now that the sides switch, we could see just one team landslide on the other if they're able to play it just a bit better on there. We're going to see slightly different lineups, and that we're going to see the Mute come out there for Young on defense. We're also going to see Mark take up the Cap Tower All, and Skies take up the Buck. Still going to get that Jackal play, and it's going to be Retro on the Ash. So very different operators coming out in general for almost all of the players here on the attack. But Fox at least being allowed to play his Jackal again is definitely beneficial to him. Just whether or not he makes the most of it or ends up in Necrox's situation will be a big game changer here, I think, for this team.
be whether or not he'll be able to hunt as well as he was hunting on the defensive side, on the attacking side. Foxay and Laxing have reached a combined 50 kills in this series, including 11 entry frags. That is not surprising at all. I imagine, actually, if I remember back, there was a similar stat at USN about the both of them having upwards of 50 through a few games as well, and their entry kill numbers being quite impressive.
And that was before Skies joined the team, so hopefully they can maybe bump his numbers up a little by giving him some more impactful frags. He's a very good buck player, though, so I imagine if he can get into the site, sometimes when he is playing on the entry frag and is allowed to live for a while, he tends to be very impactful in the late part of the round, whereas the early part of the round, he tends to either die or just get some map control. We don't often see him getting a lot of those entry kills. I don't think I don't have the stats for that in front of me, but that's just been my impression in general.
Well, you got 3 Reciprocity attackers currently hovering above the bathroom hatch over by Master. It looks like Foxay is going to get a drone call of 1 roamer over on the edge of Theater Stairs and lots of footprints to hunt down. So Foxay will begin his hunt, but it's actually the Maestro of Geo. Interesting that he was all the way over inside of VIP. Maybe they were baiting out the footprints deliberately? There's no real reason that Geo would have to be that far over.
And 10 million IQ Geo plays. He knows what he's doing. I trusted there's a plan there. In this case, though, he might just be trying to hold his own rather than it being any kind of necessary bait or anything like that. Just, hey, I'm going to hold my own over on this part of the map, and I trust you guys to do your job. It won't be a big deal because Maestro can hold quite a few angles by himself if he's smart on the rotate of which angle he's pre-firing onto. It is hard to pinch him out if you don't have your timing just right, or at least good drones. But Laxing is the first to find the kill onto Canadian. This looks eerily familiar to Villa.
Canadian going to drop first yet again, and another set of Jackal Pings coming out onto Geo, unfortunately, as I imagine he's getting a little frustrated at Foxay at about this time as we approach the final minute mark in the round, and we have yet for Reciprocity to grab a foothold in towards the objective as far as real estate is concerned. Finally, Mark will press into Aquarium and get in behind the bar into safety, and there's not a lot of attention being played right now for Evil Geniuses towards the Aquarium side. They're more concerned with a VIP push currently, and it looks like it is a split push on behalf of Reciprocity. The first Toxic Bay will come out from Necrox to repel that immediate entry from Mark with that diffuser, trying to stall out the plant for as long as possible. And the third set of Jackal Pings will come out onto Geo. Unfortunate. Constantly on ping for the entirety of the round, but here comes the execute. 18 seconds, oh, a bad cross there from Young, and he'll get caught out by Foxay. 2 more will peek the angle. Foxay with another victim, just lining up for Reciprocity now. It's NVK in a 1v5. He grabs one, Laxing cleans it from outside, and Reciprocity go up 4-3 for the first round of the first half.
Nice execute. I think they were honestly, if you have a Jackal player, you're going to be expecting them set up to use those smokes for the execute. The fact that he was on that flank just does not seem like what they were prepared for. Geo even trying to re-peek it. He's got to remember, though, he's a big guy. He's going to expose a little bit of that hitbox out there. Just trying to peek that just did not seem to put the positioning just right. Ultimately cost him giving 2 on there. It was unfortunate for Fox, though. He wasn't prepared for a third to be there. But either way, 2 kills is more than enough on that attack. Great plays by Skies as well, getting in there, doing some good damage. You saw him also having a good grenade there. And the fact that they had the cap towers to back up meant they didn't have to depend on the Jackal player, giving Fox that additional freedom to just focus on tracking and hunting down his prey. And I think that was a big benefit to them, having that extra cap tower to focus on the execute while letting Fox do his thing.
Well, the scoreline feels exactly like Villa, going back and forth and back and forth. A little bit of a lead established early on, and then it completely evaporates into thin air. So we draw again at a 4-3 scoreline. Reciprocity 3 rounds away in regulation, that is, from a date with G2 tomorrow as the second semifinal.
I mean, to be fair, with how close these teams have been in that back and forth, we actually haven't seen any overtime in this matchup yet. I mean, Bank definitely was not as close, but we didn't see an overtime on Villa, and who knows, we might see one team just slide ahead 2 points, and that might be just enough to take them to the victory, and then we don't have to see that overtime. But I do think these guys are earning this overtime, and I certainly think if it's the lead for Reciprocity, EG are going to work that much harder to make sure it goes to that overtime, and It's going to be tough. I mean, this is going to be a slog for both teams. It's going to be a stamina fest for these guys, but all of them have been here for the most part. All of them are very comfortable in this position in terms of sticking through it. I don't see anyone really weakening too early to give it up to the other team.
No, stamina should be garnered in spades for all of these players as they've, as you said, been here plenty of times in stages just like this, in situations just like this, with time crunches just like this. It's not a new foray for a lot of these players, and expertise really does go a long way in this. We've seen a lot of the more inexperienced teams fall out early in those stamina fights. It's interesting to see as Reciprocity will again stack inside of Aquarium to push across. Evil Geniuses reattempting the Hookah defense, but this time everyone from Reciprocity is stacked up. Nobody going for a split push through VIP. It's an all hands on deck push through Aquarium with a lot of time remaining. The pace of this attack right now for Reciprocity is quite remarkable.
Interesting to see the slight differences too. Fox has taken a little bit of damage as his mark, but Sky's changing up from the buck over to the sledge. That could help, I would say, with barbed wire, but Retro is actually the one using his Ash Remote Breach charges to take out that barbed wire to try and help his team get set up this push. But I do like the time buffer they're giving themselves, and the fact that, of course, they still have the same sets of smokes in play, but of course there is the Maestro Evil Eye that could potentially see through it. Now last time, Fox was able to get the kill into Geo, but that doesn't take out the Evil Eyes, and that's something that looks like they might have been able to take out some of, potentially with the Ash recharges, but Fox still on the hunt, and there goes Captel Smoke Bolts.
Mark is going to evade the Toxic Babe and try and facilitate a plant in behind the pool table, but a double nitro from Young. Mark and Skies will both fall. Shotgun holes from down below, and no one recovering the diffuser as of yet for Reciprocity, but they still have plenty of time. Laxing still on far off right now, and Foxay still downstairs. So it's just Retro holding out for now as Foxay will rotate up the Hookah balcony and try and pinch NVK and Necrox inside of Hookah. Slow advancement coming out from Necrox in behind the bars. He tries to re-peek in towards Retro as he tries to constantly reacquire this diffuser. The second Toxic Babe will come out. Laxing able to grab the diffuser and make it into the default plant spot. Throwing down the plant, taking a lot of damage, and shotgun right around the bomb. He's able to grab two. NVK and Necrox will. It's all Retro alone with 15 seconds. Looks like we're drawing equal once again. In behind the pool table, no diffuser in hand. Retro will push for the kills, and he will fail. NVK will equalize once again. We go back and forth and back and forth. There is never any significant lead garnered from either of these teams.
It's like they're playing this game on a seesaw. Definitely a tough one for them there, the executed attempt. I mean, like you said, all hands on deck. You know, that worked out for the most part, except for the fact that that deck was blasted with a C4. Fox, though, doing pretty much the same thing again, also getting the kill onto Geo on that Maestro yet again, who was trying to play a bit more off-site. And I feel like that's just not working out for Geo, but it's certainly working out for Fox. We are going to get a timeout for Reciprocity here as they try and make sure they can close out this lead or at least continue to keep up the pace on it.
Just watching through the highlights of that last round. If you look at the kills right now, it's Laxing and Foxay leading the way for Reciprocity at 10 and 9 respectively. And on the side of Evil Geniuses, it's more of a committee by depth, and NVK leading the charge with 10 kills for NVK. The next closest is Canadian with 6, then Young with 5.
Well, we will see them go for the kitchen play this time. That will be a little bit different as we had yet to see that on the other side. Will it be any different? Hard to say, but we'll see NVK, the one taking out that Maestro, who was, I would say, a bit more successful with it than Geo, especially on Villa. So it seems like a good role change here. Looks like we're going to see Geo playing a slightly different role, although we could see some 6-picks here, as it is now the reveal phase. So just the end of that timeout leading into that. And there we go, there is a 6-pick. Canadian just doing, you know, he's that flex player, and the IGL just will play whatever he feels like, kind of does his own thing to an extent, but also is trying to play a lot of counterplay more often than not, but also not working a lot of the time, to be fair.
Canadian's been about 50-50 on whether or not he's been able to convert on a lot of the attempts that he's made. Some of them more ambitious than others, and yet the result still falls about dead even back and forth. Although the alibi play is interesting, but I don't really see the whole benefit when you're going to the kitchen. the default spots are the default spots. I mean, you're going to get pre-fired through them anyway. Unless he's just trying to stall out on a roam game's top side, just the pings might be enough to, I guess, evade Reciprocity back, but Rec is playing this almost like Empire. They're not swapping up their operators. You don't need to fool them into shooting an alibi to understand what operator they're playing. You've still got the Evil Eyes, you've still got the Valkyrie cameras, so the information is not the crucial point here for Canadian. Maybe it really just is being able to roam with some impacts to Bailiff and a pretty average submachine gun.
I do like that we're still seeing the double smoke play here coming out from Reciprocity. It does mean that if Mark is not able to pull off the execute, that Fox can potentially come around with the smokes for a second execute attempt if need be. Although we didn't really see that come out too much last round because Fox was doing his thing a bit farther from the execute attempt. Wasn't able to rotate around to be impactful enough in time. We do have a bit of damage on Necrox that could have been due to team damage or maybe even firing through a wall or soft wall.
It was Fox firing in through the blue bar window as, yeah, Necrox was all the way over in Sunrise by Cubby Walm. So got the hell out of dodge as soon as he got tagged in the backside once through the wall and drops him to about 75 HP. So it won't be the end of the world, but an early loss for a simple mistake for Necrox. And they're still waiting on Reciprocity for their progression, and their patience is seemingly unparalleled throughout a lot of the teams in this tournament and in the world, honestly. They really do have the patience to outlast anyone, and Necrox would be the first to go. So he takes a bullet to the backside early on, and another one now as Skies attack on, taking down Young. Midway through the round, it's an early ingress for Reciprocity, and they're demolishing.
Well, that was two of the biggest delays they were going to have in Retro, following that up onto Geo as well. This is looking very strong. Well, okay, this is looking almost over at this point.
NVK left alone to suffer and slowly die inside of service entrance. Currently holding off on a service entrance door push, but he's also got Laxing coming down his theater stairs and twisting and turning. He's being shot from a drone hole outside. He's got no idea. Jackal pinged now on 5 HP. It's a world of hurt that NVK is currently in. He'll pre-fire the kitchen doorway, and Fox A will wait it out. Playing him behind. Oh, what a nice shot onto Mark for NVK, but it was all for naught, as Reciprocity had the chokehold against NVK inside of the kitchen, and they'll take the lead once again, 2 rounds away, and that will force Evil Geniuses to take a timeout.
Well, Reciprocity is able to continue their 1-round lead as it creeps up towards the end of this. And it is a good time for AG to be taking that tactical timeout, because this is not the middle map. This is the map that decides whether or not they make it even to the semifinals against G2, not to mention the fight against G2 itself. Going to be a heck of a battle, so this is a lot of stress on their back, because of course, Canadian being a native here of Canada is going to be, I imagine, bringing out friends and family to be watching this, and he does not want to be going out in quarters. That would be a terrible position for him to be in. But of course, Fox also going to be doing the same, so a lot riding on those two Canadians to make this happen. We are going to be going to what looks like bar here from EG, something they hadn't tried just yet, as kitchen didn't work out for them, and hookah only so far 50%. But since they did win it recently, they cannot go back to it just yet, so they're going to try that bar defense, something that was the first attempt from Reciprocity, which did not work, and didn't work till their second attempt on it. So we'll see some 6 picks coming out again. Laxing teasing his Blackbeard play, something he used to be very infamous for back in his Xbox days, but instead bringing out something a little bit different.
Defenders, protect your
which we'll
bombs.
see if it works or not. It definitely is something that we also saw attempted for this particular bomb site sometimes. We'll see if the reinforcements are a little bit different, though, in terms of whether or not they reinforce that same side right next to the bar or not. Could be a big game changer. They are going to be bringing the castle, though, which will be delaying things up just a smidge.
Just think about the teams that have already made it. You have G2, obviously, who will face the winner of this game. You have Norengo and Empire facing off in the other semifinal. Currently, G2 is the only team that made it out of groups last year to make it out of the quarters this year. EG would join them if they could win map 3 here on Coastline, but if Reciprocity does, then G2 would be the only returning team to the Final 4 of the Invitational year after year.
That'd be pretty impressive, and shows how this game evolves and changes over time. Season to season, metas shift, things happen. Players shift, but maybe not as much in this case, in the sense of that being a big reason for that change, but in this case, it's just down to how players and teams perform just on a day-to-day basis and with a lot of pressure riding on them, which again, EG are no stranger to. Just that finish line always seems so far away. And when you're in quarters, it is that much farther. They do spot a little bit of this barbed wire here. Skies trying to decide how we're going to approach it. Instead of playing the buck of the sledge, instead going for the Zofia, but does not necessarily know someone right on the other side of that bar.
Waiting for NVK to get off the camera and take a quick peek and try and set the tone on this round, but no such peek comes out from NVK. And Laxing now with a T95 pulling out the Ying is heading over to the pink tarp, and a series of pre-fires through a wooden barricade almost connected the head of Skies, and it would have been a remarkable beginning, and dropping out through the hatch now is NVK as he attempted to hold upstairs inside a hookah for as long as possible, got a minute deep, and then felt the burn coming, so he dropped the hatch to remain safe, and that's exactly what you want to do right now for EG. Peel back, constantly hold some map control. As soon as the pressure gets too hot to handle, fall back to safety. You need strength in numbers right now for these last second site executes that Rec are bringing.
What they need to do is stay away from Fox, it seems, as well. They need to do something to shut him down the same way he was shutting down Necrox time and time again, because Fox seems to be getting away with a lot. I mean, it's making a huge difference. Canadian, that's going to be a game changer, pulling right out of Fox's playbook. And that is not great. I mean, it is retro on the axe, which wasn't necessarily a huge part of his offense, but it's certainly going to slow things down here and possibly see that tie up again.
Flashbangs anticipating an ADS inside of Cubby, but none such. An asphyxiating bolts coming out now from the crossbow. Necrox burning alive. Candela's coming out as all the utility gets dumped into Sunrise Bar. Laxing going to jump over, but NVK will take down Fox upstairs. Laxing has control in behind the Sunrise Bar, and the plant is going down. Necrox will fall. Mark putting the plant down inside of Sunrise. A wide peak shut down. It's 3 straight kills, 4 straight kills for Reciprocity. Canadian in a 1v2. 1v1 now. She takes out Laxing and Mark. It's Canadian against Skies with diffuser down. Canadian hopping straight on the defuse, and Skies vaulting out the window. Canadian gonna get off as he hears the window breaking. Pre-fires connecting on the shoulder for just a moment. And now Canadian again attempting to stick. 2 seconds, 1 second, turning to the corner. Skies will shut it down. Reciprocity, match point, series point.
Just the intelligent plays. This is much like we saw from Empire coming through at just the last second. Basically, at that point, he was forcing Canadian to commit because the baits for earlier forced him off of it, which cost him time. I liked Troy's gumption just going straight to the diffuser, saying, I'm going to stick this as long as I could feel like I could get away with it, and if they don't push me, I'm just going to get away with it. Almost worked out, but Skies playing that just right. Also just managing to dodge a few bullets, like you said, over the shoulder. Like you said, match point here against EG from Reciprocity. This is phenomenal play here coming out from these guys, despite just getting destroyed on bank, much like we saw with Empire, coming back swinging heavy after such a rough start.
Attackers need to locate.
No timeouts left either for either team at this point.
All timeouts expended. If you're evil geniuses, you focus 1 round at a time. You win this one, you move on to the next, and then you're in overtime and everything resets back to normal. If you're Reciprocity, you don't want to give EG 1 single inch to claw their way back. We've seen it too many times from evil geniuses on the brink of elimination, able to withstand, persevere, push through, and defeat their foes in a remarkable fashion. If you are Team Reciprocity, you want to close this out right now with no hesitation.
Interesting to see Skies and Laxing switching roles, despite the fact that Laxing got in pretty well, managed to make the most of his side take for the most part, and Skies was the one to clutch it. So I wouldn't say either of those players did their role wrong. They both did it actually pretty well. So it is odd to switch that up when they both did it well, or done so well on that particular role, just demonstrable on screen. And the only team to beat EG during the season voted with Reciprocity, and that is something I mentioned earlier, and that is something that we might be getting demonstrated here on the big stage.
That was on Clubhouse, a 7-5 victory in week 6, and no Clubhouse here. These have been incredibly close games, just like that Clubhouse game, but now on a much bigger stage with much, much more at stake. Reciprocity on the brink of eliminating evil geniuses in the quarterfinals and advancing to play G2 tomorrow afternoon.
I think the important thing here for Reciprocity is now they have some slack. They finally have a 2-round lead. They could start to just play a little more loose, not in the terms of sloppiness, but in the sense that they can relax some of those muscles to really just focus in, just go on the hunt, do their thing, let Fox get his kills, approach the site, don't let them get on the sides of you, but at the same time, EG are going to be thinking the same thing. We've got to claw this back. We've got to get one kill at a time and just slow them down, stop that site push.
Seems like everyone on Reciprocity understanding the stakes that are on currently is playing things a little more tentative than they typically would. The last time they all filed into Aquarium, there was 2 minutes left and they wanted to go for a site execute with 1:30. But Mark's taking a lot of damage downstairs. Canadian Young with 2 big kills. Take down Retro and Skies. NVK is down. All the smokes come out. A Nitro Cell will fly errands, and there goes Necrox. Almost leveling man count. NVK revived though, turning the corner. It's 3 straight kills for Reciprocity. The plant is down by Mark. Foxay on low HP will rip out, same as Mark to the balcony, laxing out on the tarp. It's a 2v3. It's a 1v3. Canadian to keep his team alive in the biggest tournament in the world. Turning the corner, he grabs 1 onto Mark. Trying to go in for 2 against Foxay. All it will take is 2 bullets. Close range with the Deagle. Deagles him down. 1v1 against Laxing. And Laxing on tarp! Reciprocity eliminate evil geniuses!
I did not think this day would come where we would see them shut down. In the quarters like this, and the big stage, Reciprocity almost gave that round to Canadian. You see him scratching his chin. That is the appropriate response right now, because that is what I'm doing, wondering what just happened. What an amazing play by Reciprocity. And all they can look forward to is now we have to bring it to G2. That is not something you want to be facing next, but they guaranteed themselves that much closer to the spot. And I gotta imagine there's some sincere congratulations coming out from both, as well as the GGs, bro.